Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life. I never miss that stack, taking big swings, hand to the bat, put me in the ring, you'll go out in a bag, cause I sing what I mean and I bring it to the mad light. Ain't got time to kill, I got time to feel, I took the red pill, I know life's short so I wanna live real, but how's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel? They wanna say my name, but they holding back. They wanna say they hate, but they know it's cap. I ain't play no games, I just do that's fact. And I don't feel no shame, it's a mood you lack. I go crazy, nah, but I ain't lazy. Track after track, I work on this shit daily. Pass me the jack, right as fuel, got me hazy. About to unpack all these things I've been chasing. I've got visions in my head, like memories after death. To be a legend instead of something you can forget. I'm living up every breath, I'd rather lead than be led. I'll fill the seats as I spread with every word that I've said. How's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel?
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Late Night Culture Show. We have a wonderful group of human beings joining us this evening and more on the way. It is a lovely Sunday. It's a great way to start the week. We are glad that you are here, and I'm certain that more and more folks will join us as we continue. But with that being said, I want to introduce one of the great men on here. He's Australian, and he edits things. And, well, he's generally funny and has dry wit. His name is Mr. Grant Gregory. What's up?
G'day, g'day. How's everyone doing?
Oh, wonderful, man! Wonderful. Glad you are here.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. I've had an interesting week. I can technically officially call myself a writer now because I've actually been paid to do articles, and by me I mean I typed in a prompt in ChatGPT-4 and spat out an article, gave it to them, and they were happy to pay me money for it. The news industry has gone to shit.
Yes,
genius, absolute genius.
And the weirdest thing about it is, I did one article that was absolutely terrible. They got me to sign an NDA, and they want to put me on as a full-time thing. That's how bad it is. So I can't tell you who it is. Let's just say it has the word New York in their title somewhere.
Oh my!
Wow,
yeah.
Well, could be
that being said, if I want my $22.75 US per article, I've got to really work for it.
Yeah, dude, I think you could probably make $1,000 a day from them alone.
Yeah, no, I unfortunately I didn't get my stuff to go through Salon. Apparently, I was a little bit too spicy for them. So there's always next week.
All right. Well, very good. Well, I really appreciate that's great information. And now I know that I too can write for somebody named New York and maybe somebody named Washington something. But anyway, Good to see you, my friend. And of course, we have an actual real journalist here and somebody who sees more movies than you can imagine. My good friend Jacob. Society Reviews. How are you doing today, brother?
I'm doing all right. All I can say is that it's never a good thing when the Daily Beast is begging for James Gunn to take over DC Comics because your movies are doing so bad. So outside of that, I think we're all doing pretty well, right?
That's true. I'm doing great. Oh man, no, I'm glad that you're back. You were missed last week. We got to get back to a regular schedule. Hopefully that will come back to fruition. It's all on me for being regular, so got to eat that Metamucil. Speaking of
you gotta
Metamucil,
get that Jamie Lee Curtis diarrhea yogurt that she sells.
There you go. There you go. Speaking of a yogurt that makes ladies poop, Jason, how's it going there? How's
Hey,
Damn.
I tell you, this is my week right here. Due to the current workload, the light at the end of the tunnel's been switched off. I have had a week where nothing has gone the way I've expected it and planned for it to go. So I have not accomplished very much this week, but I'm still alive. So.
Well, yeah, and let me tell you, it's getting harder and harder to stay that way. I mean, we were losing people like crazy or dropping like flies, and I'm always worried because I'm like, okay, who am I going to wake up to not being with us anymore? Yeah. That is not a fun thing to think about.
Yeah.
Take your lysine and your black cumin oil pills and maybe some vitamin C.
Ooh. All of that sounds good. And indeed, Mr. Grant Gregory, R.I.P. Lance Riddick. I thought that was a particularly harsh thing to find out when I was doing my show on Friday.
No.
I was not. I couldn't even have a reaction. That's how sad I was about that. Was not okay. But somebody who I know is okay and is definitely well ensconced within some orange cave of doom. It's our good friend Jesse, the common nerd, making his first appearance here on the Late Night Culture Show. How are you doing there, Jesse?
Yay! Hi, I'm cold. We had a cold front move in last Sunday, and it's been freezing ever since. So I actually have my heat lamp going on out here in the garage. I got chickens last year, and this is leftover from raising baby chickens up to full size. And so it also works out really well to keep my garage heated, especially now that I've got my nice little shelf put up out here. So I'm not freezing my butt off out here, and I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me, Culture.
Yeah. Well, thanks for stopping in, and hopefully you can, when the timing is right, we can get you in here every once in a while. I appreciate you joining us tonight. It should be a lot of fun.
Sounds good.
But what's going on, Jason?
On that note, that reminds me, I was in Home Depot the other day because I had to get a new light bulb for the beef jerky box. And an employee at Home Depot told me that they are, at least this particular location, is getting ready to phase out the incandescent light bulbs because of some government thing. And I was talking to my dad about it. Apparently this thing goes back all the way to the Bush era, but the Department of Energy or whoever, the incandescent light bulbs are going away.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that
environmental stuff by August. August is the date. And so if you guys are using light bulbs for anything other than just turn on the light and see in the room, like heat, if you're using it like in a warming bed or an animal place or chicken coops or anything like that, you better stock up while they're still available because they're about to be gone.
Well, I may have to do a DIY video on how to make a radiant heater using a regular incandescent location. So, because it can be done. You can DIY that up. But on that note, that's crazy. Well, okay. Well, the more things change, the less we have to have self-reliance, apparently. But
we're going to have to start a YouTube channel on how to make bullets out of Fisher-Price children's toys. Step 1, melt down the toys. T356.
If you use a double broiler, the plastic melts more consistently and has less tendency to burn. Don't ask him. I know that.
Yeah, well,
it's delicious.
I was talking to Mindy today about it, and I was like, there are days I'm fighting this notion that I have to put boards up on the windows and make sure I've got enough ammo and meat and water and just let the world burn, and I stay out of it. And it's not a good place to be.
Well, And the problem with doing that is you can't, us letting go of the world is why it's in the situation it's in right now.
Yeah,
It took things getting this bad for this many of us to stand up and turn on a camera, turn on a microphone, and start yelling into the void because something had to change. And that's one of the things that we see that happening now. We see that with the Ironverse. We see that with so many of these other companies out there making their own thing, whether it be stuff like The Chosen, whether it be things like, the Nefarious movie that's coming out April 14th, a lot of the other stuff that's coming out the way, that's all this independent things that are getting outside of the mainstream. If it wasn't for people like us standing up and shouting about those kind of things, there would not be a market for those kind of things. People would just be completely turned off. And now we have essentially this parallel market, this parallel economy that's coming up because of how bad the big guys have screwed up. And because people on this channel, people like, Bounding into Comics, writing articles about all this stuff, pushing back against it is what's causing the change we are starting to see now. And if we stop now, it'll whiplash back faster and get even worse than what it was ever before. We have to keep pushing forward. We have to hold the line.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And there's really is another reason that we have to do it as well. And please bear with me, or somebody here can bring up this particular. Let's see if I can bring this up. We just want to be paying attention, and this is something we should be paying attention to that I'm going to show you on the screen here in a second. This could be your Valentine's Day in the future.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
I think I know where you're going with this one.
So, from latest in space, breaking, NASA is monitoring an asteroid that could collide with Earth on Valentine's Day 2046.
We're good.
So we got 23 more years. Yeah, that's fine.
There's a 1 in 400 chance that this thing hits the planet.
So what you're telling me is there's a chance.
There's a chance. So I thought this would be a fun story to throw out there.
Looks like
the world has become just a completely screwed up place when we're looking at giant asteroid rocks as divine justice rather than the potential end of the world.
God might have done Sodom. He might have done Sodom and Gomorrah with fire and brimstone. No, he's like, you know what? We're just gonna use a meteorite this time. We're not taking
it worked with the dinosaurs. I think it'll take these people out too.
We got this. Get a call it a day. That would be fire, right? That would be fire.
What is that? The Brianna Wu technique? I would just drop rocks from space. Isn't that,
it works. It works. But let's say hi to some folks out there in the chat before we get fired up. We got Y Destroyer 3466V. We've got Liger Fan, Aaron Ratliff's out there. We've got Tender Warrior 68, who actually just gifted 5 Culture Casino memberships. Thank you for that, Tender Warrior 68. Much appreciated, my friend. We've got you guys don't even know those the memberships. They're like better than like supers because they're stable. They're stable for a channel, so they're a good thing. I'm just saying. Hey, Darcipio is here. I can't wait for Tom to go. What's happening is Valiant stream is getting progressively longer, and then Tom's stream starts after that. And the whole plan was to Valiant, Tom, me. And now I feel bad. So, but it looks like a lot of people stuck with Tom. Hopefully they follow him over here. And so does he, because I miss that dude. But thank you, Darcipio, for that. And I might push this stream back next week, like a half an hour, because I want to give Tom room to breathe. Because, we keep bumping into each other, but it's hard to exit with a great crowd. Speaking of great crowd, we got Dragon Master 360 here, and the guy that's actually on the panel now, the Common Nerd. The lovely Lisa is here. Greetings, dear. And of course, Cash Caster is also in the house. There's Jerry Minoza. What's up, buddy? And of course, Keck44. Been with me almost from the beginning. Sci-Fi for Me TV is here. The very lovely Southern Belle is here. She is a great guest. She did a lovely job over on Comics Division. And she's becoming a regular over there. By the way, next Thursday, I think the Comics Division guys are going to be talking about and reviewing John Wick 4. So hopefully you guys will be able to catch us on Thursday night. Monday, we have a big show planned as well. B. Baker, what's going on? We've got Headless Ned Shorts. What's up, Headless Ned? Christian Delorme, what is up, my friend? It's been a minute. And there's that amazing car. Let's see who else is out there. Matt G. What's going on, Matt G? I think I said hi to Dragmaster already. Yes, I did. Now, Low Spec Linux Laptop is here. The amazing Eric K, the master of mods, the mensch of wrenches. And he is the very best at what he does. And I appreciate him. Let's see. Who else is in the house? Oh, Frankie. What's up, Frankie? Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. We got a super chat from our good friend, Christian Delorme. Thank you, my man. For 20 Canadian says, hey, Culture, our schedules may not always align. I might not always catch your streams, but the one thing we are always on for are great cars. Cheers, buddy. Love from Canada. No doubt, my friend. And you have an amazing automobile. Good to see you, bro. Hope you're doing well. Parrot Head is here. Parrot Head has been sending some interesting images in the messaging groups. Those are fun.
Yeah, he has the weirdest collection. I would hate to see what happens if his computer ever got raided by the FBI. The amount of pictures that he has.
It's going to be glorious. Let's just say that. Hey, look at it. Leslie Tarkin says, "Never tell me the odds." That's right. Let's see. Oh, Sean Estep is in the house. There's Real Wade. Real Wade's channel's growing left and right. Jason, what's up? Jason Sandberg for $2 says, "Great floods are so passe." That's right. We're just gonna throw a big rock at you. Yep. Just a big rock. It's gonna hit. Things are gonna melt.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be crazy.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be huge.
It's gonna be great.
It'll be huge. Let's see. Oh, Monkey Jeebus is here. There's Monkey Jeebus. What's going on, brother? Good to see you.
Well, we should get our Big Rock 2042 shirts ready now.
Yes, yes. I want a flag. I want a flag. Just a little flag that says, "Yeah, Big Rock 2042." Just wave it on street.
Yeah. Like, just put like a couple of different political conversations on there or whatever. It'd be great. It'd be great. Great. Little, like an elephant and a donkey. Big Rock 2020, whatever it is. But yeah. Death Angel Shadow is here. Keely Chow, Roll Tide, brother. Look at all these amazing humans popping in. All right, let's get going. Let's get rolling. If I missed you, it wasn't on purpose, my friends. I probably will say your name along the way. So everybody.
By the way, Death Angel Shadow, I've been sending you messages. I need to hear back from you.
Uh-oh.
Get on it. He's calling you out.
Not a bad fool. Not a bad thing.
All right, so let's get back to our regularly scheduled conversation and not about the big rock. By the way, attached to this piece, if you go check it out from Latest in Space on Twitter, Jada Racer actually commented on it.
Nice.
Anyway, they actually have somebody who actually took that story and pumped the information into Chat GPT. And basically, it like went on like a tangent with like the whole Douglas Adams "Don't Panic" thing. It was really funny. You're gonna die, but don't panic. It'll be fine. Him, kind of like leading up to the end of the earth. Look, let's start at what's the biggest belly flop of the weekend?
Shazam. Maybe. I mean, that's what I would think first off the top of my head would be Shazam.
I think you're right. I think Shazam was the biggest belly flop, and it's not even close. I feel kind of bad-ish.
I don't at all. Especially after Zachary Levi, who I have defended before, come out and was like, "Well, if they don't keep me in the DCU, then I guess we're not friends anymore. Screw you, you little entitled prick." Like, I hope your movie crashes and burns. I hope it fails miserably and you get exactly what you want for saying something like that. That our fans had come out and defended you for trying to be a nice guy and try to play the middle of the road. No, I hope your movie crashes and burns.
Well,
boom.
Wow. Okay. Well, if I that was pretty soft take there, dude. You need to ramp it up next time.
Sometimes I try to hold it back. Sometimes I try to hold it back and keep it inside.
We're throwing rocks and dropping bombs tonight, people.
That's right. Well, it's the end of DC as we know it, and they don't feel fine, Jesse. I knew where you were going there. The Fury of the Gods opening salvo in 4 films out this year deserves to be a big draw. So why does it feel like the DCU is limping towards a conclusion rather than culminating in a celebration of a decade of storytelling? There hasn't been anything here that's been of any kind of quality, I would have to say, and I think that's kind of one of those. I think it's kind of one of those things that you can't argue. None of these films were the best, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I liked, some of the Snyder stuff, in particular the casting of these characters, it never landed with audiences, and it never impregnated the public with enthusiasm. Is probably the best way to put it. And I don't know, if that's just because we get more and more sophisticated as an audience, or we just stop caring about certain things. A lot of people are going to want to argue, and I'm going to ask you guys this question: is it because there's superhero fatigue?
No.
Mm.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I can see both sides of this. One, like I said, with this whole DCEU and this kind of transitional period that they're in, you told people months ago that, hey, look, we're blowing this whole thing up anyway. So you got these 3 movies that are coming out this year, this being the first of them, with Flash and Aquaman still later to come. If you've already told people we're going to blow this whole thing up and that these films really don't matter in the grand scheme of things, then what's the motivation to go see Shazam 2 at this point? Remember, this was supposed to come out 4 months ago, and then they pushed it up to March. So clearly DC had no faith in this movie to begin with, given that they pushed it up so late, try to give it a dead period where people will actually go see it. But no one cares at this point. You've already made all the announcements that James Gunn is taking over, and that Zachary Levi, he probably won't be back anyway. We tell people that 2 months ahead of time, so it's okay, well, the first Shazam wasn't that great, so why would I go watch this one?
The irony is, though, I've seen comments on social media from people who have actually gone to see it, and people are having a good time seeing this movie.
I mean, it's an okay film. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not great either. It's just perfectly mediocre.
It's painfully average.
Yeah.
So yeah, I heard from, I think I was talking to Clobby on Friday night, and I think Clobby said there were some parts that were fun if you were a big comic book fan. There were certain little throwouts there that you really enjoyed, but other than that, almost from everybody else, I heard it was just boring as all hell. And I don't think it's superhero fatigue, although I think what Jason said is very absolutely right about the fact that they basically nuked this entire thing and told us that this was all over and none of it was going to matter. I mean, you go back and look at what I was talking about over the summer and stuff like that. I was the biggest DC Warner Brothers fanboy out there. I was talking about all the rumors because I was like, Henry Cavill's coming back. This is going to be great. We're finally going to get to finish this story with it. We'll actually get all these great people that were cast, well, more or less perfectly for a lot of these roles. And we're going to finish all this off. And then, of course, all of that got blown up shortly after Black Adam. And I'm like, why am I even going to bother seeing any of the rest of these movies for the rest of the year? Because at the end of it, none of it's going to matter.
I think that's the big thing is that people, it's not necessarily superhero fatigue, it's reboot fatigue on top of bad movie fatigue. You've got people that are sitting there going, okay, this is all getting changed again. And how many times are we going to start over? Because some of us will remember the DCEU was supposed to start with Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern.
And that was bad.
Oh, that was really bad.
And then it started over again with Man of Steel, and then it started over again, and now we're starting over again.
And you're right, and that's really what's happened. They've had a lot of false starts, I think, is the way I describe it. But real quick, because we are going to take a pause for a second and say, hi, everybody from Midnight's Edge After Dark. We appreciate you. Thanks for sending them over, Tom, and bring your skinny little butt in here too, dude. But here's an interesting piece of information. Then I want to get back to what Jason was saying. Monkey Jeebus says Snyder's having a screening of his DC movies at Universal and the Art Center. That is interesting.
Yeah, that was announced earlier today. They were talking about the Snyder Con stuff that's coming out. All the tickets are supposed to go on sale here in a few days or something like that as well. And it's supposed to be a big thing. I know they were talking. Sil Abdul was covering that earlier this evening. I caught a little bit of that. But I couldn't stand the people that Zack Snyder was talking to because they literally had she, her, and their little profile tag after their name. So I couldn't stare at that for longer than about 5 seconds. And one of them was a bald gothic chick that, needless to say, shouldn't have been wearing what she was wearing. So,
oh boy,
I heard. It was bad. I think it was Andy Signor was reporting that this is not only last hurrah huzzah for Snyder, but it's also Snyder putting a cap and this is the end of the Snyderverse. I'm moving on from it. We're going to celebrate what we did and now we're done, which would be great. apparently he's had a conversation with James Gunn, and the result of that, according to Senior, I haven't seen anything of this because I don't have sources. I would love to have sources, but what I've read is that they apparently had a conversation, and I would expect that conversation was probably James Gunn sitting there going, "Okay, Zach, cool your jets, get your people to shut up." Because there is no Snyderverse anymore. It's gone. It's never coming back. And whatever Aquaman ends up looking like, the Flash is the reset button. Yeah. And everything that I'm seeing, according to all of the different reports and the trades and everything like that, everybody is just falling all over themselves because the Flash is so wonderful. It's a great movie. It's fun.
At least that's what they want you to believe.
Well, even Tom Cruise,
got a private his own copy, and he loves it. So
he loves it. He loves
allegedly.
Hey, what's up, T-Bud? Yeah, look, Jason Sandberg for $10 says, skip the Shazam family and do a bonkers film like Grant Morrison's story where Doc Savannah tries to add an 8th day to the week. And it's a work day, not a weekend day. Make it fun.
Unfortunately, Savannah's still trapped in that cell, so you'll be at the end of every film from now on. Just him constantly being in that cell, getting older until he dies.
See, my biggest problem with the current year, modern era Shazam, Captain Marvel, is the personality, and this goes back to New 52 when the whole thing got rebooted. And Jeff Johns was writing Shazam because they can't, for whatever legal reasons, yada yada. He's Captain Marvel, and Jeff Johns wrote it as Billy Batson in a grown-up suit. It's big with a cape, and I've always had a problem with that because the S in Shazam is Solomon. I mean, Wisdom of Solomon. He's a completely different person when he's Captain Marvel, and he's not Billy when he's powered.
Well, real quick before I let Tom jump in here, is that this is a bigger problem with Hollywood in general, but more specifically in these superhero films, where you have, like I said, Captain Marvel, same thing with Spider-Man. They're writing teenagers, especially older teenagers, like they're toddlers. So it's like in the film, you have Zachary Levi playing a kid who's supposed to be like a few months away from turning 18, but he's still talking like he's like a 6-year-old throughout the entire film, which really takes away from a lot of it. Same thing with Tom Holland playing, Spider-Man.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Iron Boy.
Or Spider Boy.
Let me say this: they did take away Iron Boy from him, right? In the most recent,
that's the only any hope I have for the future of those Spider-Man movies. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the only hope I have for any of the future Spider-Man movies is because they have completely reset that now. He can actually be Peter Parker and not Tony Stark's sidekick.
Yeah, and Feliato makes a great point.
That was mostly the second movie's fault, but anyway, go ahead.
No, but real quick, and I actually want to hear your thoughts on this, Tom, because you were throwing them in the chat. I want to hear more about what's going on with the Snyder stuff. But a movie should not be a reset button. By doing that in this situation, they're creating an inherent connection to the other films since Green Lantern to now. Yeah, I agree. I think that was also kind of the direction Jason was going too. I think this is all bad. And there's one film we are not talking about, gentlemen, that is involved in all of this mess that nobody said anything about because we don't know what the release date is yet. You know what that is?
What, the Aquaman or the Superman?
No, Blue Beetle.
Oh, we don't have to pay for that one.
That's why there's 4 films this year.
See, I think that was just kind of a standalone, and it'll fall wherever it falls, and they'll make it fit.
And that's exactly what Gunn said, too. Gunn said that several times and publicly, is that it's enough of a standalone movie to where they'll decide how well it does as to whether or not they keep it going forward or not in the new version of DC. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I've heard, I mean, it's kind of like the same thing we've heard about The Flash, we've heard good things from some of the screenings that people have said, but I mean, once again, it's all rumor and innuendo. So, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see what happens, but I don't know. I like the Blue Beetle character and like some of the animated DC stuff I've seen. So I don't like have a major objection to the character. But
I think Solo's going to do a good job, but I could be wrong.
My thinking on this is it's a missed opportunity, because if they're working on a Booster Gold movie, then we have the wrong Blue Beetle in this universe, because you absolutely could lean into Blue and Gold and do Booster and Ted Kord's Blue Beetle, because that dynamic came out of Justice League International and was very successful, I mean, that they're best friends, and you could do buddy cop type stories with Blue Beetle and Booster Gold, because Ted Kord is essentially Batman because he doesn't have powers. He doesn't have the Scarab, and you could do, Booster is the comic relief. He's out of place because he's from the future and he's got no idea how to navigate here. You could have a lot of fun with that. But this Blue Beetle we're getting in August is the next Blue Beetle, is Jaime Reyes,
right?
The teenager who's got the
Right.
alien tech Scarab thing making
Right.
a Blue Beetle.
Right.
So it's a missed opportunity. You still could make it work.
Yeah.
And this Blue Beetle, if it's successful, great, we'll have more. But
Well,
I don't know.
It kind of is in its own pocket world. For now, we don't know if there's any cameos or anything like that, and I've heard very little about it. I think Tom, and I guarantee you, Latino Slant Paulie's probably heard more about it. But Tom, your thoughts on the wind down of the Justice League and the Snyder Con and everything else that's going on? I didn't get a chance to get those.
Well, Zach is sitting out there trying to sell some hopium to people as always. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw the ladies that were interviewing him and how they got this interview. I do not know. They got like 1,000 people on their fucking channel, right? They had more people watching than that were sub to them.
Maybe no, I don't know. Susan's not in charge anymore, is she?
had something to do with them pronouns.
Oh yeah. And I'm like looking at these women going, if these are the women of the Snyder cult, we definitely dodged a bullet here.
Oh my.
I told you they were ugly.
Yeah. Anyhow, it was just a big, much to do about nothing, guys. You know what's going to be funny about this Snyder Con is I think it'll hilariously show how many people really just don't give a shit about this thing. Sure, it might do well for what it is, but at the end of the day, it's a big nothing burger. He built up this whole week to his fans to just tell them that we're going to go watch the movie in Universal Studios theater thingy.
Right.
It's not even technically a real theater, because that's the thing I was talking about earlier this week, and it makes sense now. I was hearing that he was having some scuffle over getting the Snyder Cut to be able to show it in theaters, because there's some contractual thing where they weren't able to, but he was able to get around that with the black and white version or whatever. So I think they're going to try to get the color version for this screening or whatever, but it doesn't really matter. Like, it's basically a big last hoorah. And that's really how they should be selling these movies. And I think that's a missed opportunity. But at the end of the day, it's done. Both are dead. The Snyderverse was a failed experiment. And a lot of the reason why James Gunn going forward said he's going to allow his directors to have a bit more say and sway in how things are going. And it will probably influence the ongoing series. But we'll have to wait and see what he totally comes up with. I'm not even convinced yet that he's not going to completely and utterly reboot, even though he's building up this idea that, we're going to keep some things around and this, that, and the other. Really, if you think about it, Peacemaker and Amanda Waller series will all have aired before Superman comes out. All this other stuff will be done way before Superman comes out. The only thing that'll be left over for after Superman is the Batman 2. Right, and we already know it's already an also ran thing anyway. So, I mean, at this point, like after that going forward, it's all reboot stuff. So I don't remember anybody saying anything more about Peacemaker or anything like that. I wouldn't even be surprised now if they say something about Peacemaker 2 not happening because James is going to be too busy prepping for Superman. I mean, he's got to start shooting this thing here soon.
Yeah, he's got
it's going to be out in 2 years.
Yeah, he's got 8 months to get his shit together. So yeah. Look, I mean, Gunn's, and you know what? This is what I think, Liger fan. I think you're right here. He lost the audience when he fired Cavill, and then
he didn't fire Cavill. He never hired him in the first place.
All right. Okay. Yes, Tom, you're right. He didn't renew his contract.
Blame The Rock. Why is everybody letting The Rock off so
no. I've been blaming The Rock on that one for a long time because that's one of those things. I heard he was making all kinds of outrageous demands, went over a lot of people's heads. No, I am of the firm belief that the reason we're not getting Henry Cavill back, it has a lot to do with some of the stuff that The Rock pulled behind the scenes. So no, I haven't let him go on that at all.
Yeah, and
Snyder doesn't help with that either.
I wouldn't. Let's do this. I'm gonna grab a couple of things. First of all, Brant Barth has a quick question. What do you think of Zack Snyder's Justice League? I think it's too long. His cut of the film was just too long. He was trying to wrap up a story he knew he was never going to get to finish. I think
he's compensating for something.
Yeah, and the end bit that he added with the Batman and the Joker really made me just like turned off by it all. But I'm glad that people from that really appreciate Snyder's works got that. I wasn't his audience, and
here's the problem with the Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's like, was it a better than the movie that Josh Whedon did? Yeah, it's better, but here's the problem. It's a 4-hour movie, which means that there was no way he was going to get all 4 hours of that in movie theaters anyway, which means that had to been edited and cut down, and if you edit it and cut it down, then it loses a lot of what made it good in the first place, which means that that's a fault on Snyder, not anyone else.
Yeah, I mean...
And then we learned from Ben Affleck's interview how much of that Snyder was kind of doing without even having permission ahead of time. Did you see that?
Yeah. But see, I loved it. But the idea is and that's good. I mean, but the idea to do something and then apologize later, that's always been a solid strategy when it comes to Hollywood. I will say this,
especially when you're in court, right?
Exactly.
Hey, you know what? I learned that from an E9, highest enlisted in the Air Force, that it was better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Yeah.
And that chief, we pulled a lot of crazy shit with that chief.
But let's do this real quick too, because I know Brian had another question about Batman 2. I have no idea why they're moving forward with Pat Bat or why you would even allow for that to happen. But you know what? I mean, I guess there would already been a side deal put together to get the second film made before they brought Gunn in. I don't know, but those are my thoughts. Now let's move on to this one super chat from our good friend Abduleo for $10 saying, I hate modern Billy Batson because he's a little thieving jerk. The whole point why he is chosen is despite his surroundings and situation, it didn't corrupt his heart, and that made him worthy. Yes.
The original Billy Batson was a thief as well.
Yeah, but
in his very first issue, he was stealing stuff at the radio center.
Really? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Like I said, I mean, the reason that for me, I like the pure of heart idea. I like it's why Captain America was such a good guy, and I always thought of Billy Batson that way. So again, I guess a misperception by me, but
well, if he hates Billy Batson, he'll probably like Shazam because Billy Batson's in it for all of 3 minutes in the second one. Like he's barely even in it.
They focus on pretty much every character except Shazam in that film. So.
And again, somebody said in the chat earlier, they look at it as this family unit. And I'm like, that's so overblown in this film. I was pretty disgusted.
Well,
So family member number 7, what's your characteristic? I'm fat and I'm gay. What else is going on with your story? No, that's it. Literally, that's it.
Yeah, and I think that was a mistake early on in the first Shazam movie, is introducing the whole family thing literally before the first movie was even over. That was way too soon. That was way too much. It's like, did you not think Shazam by himself with Zachary Levi could stand on his own, that you had to add all the rest of these characters? Is that why you did it? I don't know. I thought it was a bad decision.
But this is what we've been complaining about for a while now. That whole scene where, like in the very beginning, they have to establish or at least imply that the character is gay. They did that so they can meet their diversity quota and be like, see, glad we put one of the gay characters in the film. Now we can move on with the rest of the movie, because that never comes up throughout the rest of the film at all, outside of that one little scene.
Well, that's
they also set it up at the end of the first film when they're going to. There was like a strip show, and he walks in. He's like, "Yeah, it's not for me."
Well, that's like
there was one.
But it was a thriller.
They did nothing.
Yeah.
It was a throwaway line to bring in another throwaway line.
Well, that's like in the Supergirl television show on CW, but it was like the second or third season. They had like that one trans superhero. Literally, the only time that is ever mentioned is when she is giving a speech in front of a large crowd. It was literally never brought up before, and it was literally never brought up afterwards. It was one throwaway line that was pointless.
Can I introduce an idea before we bring up the numbers for Shazam? Let me do this. I'm going to highlight this chat. I don't know why I couldn't. There we go. From Dalu. Come on, Fat Gay really tried hard, guys, and he did. The problem is, did you notice he was the one that remained without powers the longest?
Yeah.
That's really weird.
That is weird.
It's very strange. I'm like, you know what, guys?
Wait a minute. Why was it the fat guy that had to be gay?
I don't know, Bat Tom. I don't know. Hey, Bat Tom, what do you think about what's happening with the business you used to work for, DC?
I think not all fat men are gay.
Sure, but I mean, as far as these DC offerings, like, would you prefer to work for Gunn or for Snyder, or
which one has better snacks?
That I don't know. I'm just curious.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of partial to like
you like
Twinkies.
Skittles? Do you like Skittles?
They get stuck in my teeth.
Okay, all right. So you probably don't like Snyder then, because we got.
Well, you know unicorn then.
Yeah, Skittle powered unicorns.
No.
Yeah, I didn't think
The correct answer was Whedon, by the way.
You know, frankly, I will tell you this. I watched both versions of the Justice League back to back. And in my experience, the Justice League was better. And I'll explain why real shortly.
4 hours later.
It actually had Superman in it, not Moperman, right? Because in the Justice League, he shows up, and you hear the theme, and it's like, oh, it's Superman. I even piddled a little myself being Batman. I'm like, oh my God, right? It's him. And then when he has his little race with the Flash, it's so adorable. Okay. The other reason why Justice League was better, it was 2.5 fucking hours shorter. End of discussion.
Well, I will say this, and thank you for that. That's a wonderful reflection on how, and you got to go to the bathroom.
I ain't got time for that shit. I'm out fighting crime, okay? Well, 2.5 hours matters, right?
It does, and you don't want people interrupting your snacks, right? You might run out of snacks in a 4-hour film.
I need them to keep up my blood sugar.
Speaking of snacks, every hero, every superhero, every Shazam family hero, they were easy on the eyes, ladies and gentlemen. They're when they were Shazammed out, they were easy on the eyes humans. And
because it's their best version.
That's a nice poster. That's a nice poster.
And Magic Witch Lady number 3, I forget her name, the little one. That she's also going to be Snow White. What the hell is her name?
Are you talking Rachel Ziegler?
Yeah, Ziegler. Yeah, she looked great as her goddess, godness.
She's not one of the Shazam family.
No. I'm saying this. I'm saying just in general. And by the way, I will say this, and I said this in my review. Helen Mirren actually can deliver menace. I did not believe that, but she is such a great actress. I was like, little nice lady Helen Mirren was like, oh shit.
You haven't seen 1923?
No, not yet. No.
Oh, you need to watch 1923.
Right.
She's good.
She's amazing in everything I've ever seen her in, but I just couldn't imagine her being like a terrifying presence. I was like, wow.
Oh, yeah. Did you know what a bomb was if they've been locked away for thousands of years?
Yeah.
Well, I really felt the power of menopause in this movie, so that's certainly a thing.
and she apparently broke her pinky doing stunts in this.
Well, isn't she just a Billy badass then?
Yeah. There's a photograph. She's holding them up.
One of them in a masturbation accident.
One of them is straight up, and one of them is curved, and it reminds me of Roger Staubach's finger because it's been broken so many times.
Oh yeah,
playing football.
Yeah. The Aikman, the quarterback everybody called dumb last week. Yeah, his fingers look like a freaking jigsaw puzzle. I'm like, good lord, dude, come on. What happened there?
Well, I mean, Helen Mirren's like 77 years old, so she is at that age where people die from falls. So maybe don't be the action hero this time around.
Stunt doubles exist for a reason.
Yeah.
It's Midnight's Edge's Dame Helen Mirren thing.
Oh wow, who are we? Oh wait, Jason has brought up an image. I'm going to bring
somebody
in.
mentioned her, so I pulled up a picture. This is Megan Good, who is the superhero form of Darla.
She was great in this film too. I have to tell you, they were all amazing in their characters. This is the problem with films, right? I can't say okay, the film sucked. These actors were good. It just I really feel like I've got to figure out a better way to do reviews, because it's like my commentary, and I think I've said this. I think you said this on Midnight's Edge, Tom. The film was relatively inoffensive, despite the tropes that you get out of modern audience stuff. But I mean,
yeah, you and Andre said the same thing. Pretty much outside of that one line, the movie's fine.
Yeah,
even liked it. But everybody who's seen it,
yeah,
ironically, has said it's better than the first one. Everybody who I've talked to has seen it,
and I'm hearing a lot of people about.
Whoever just went is the first time I haven't heard you talk about it yet. That's what I'm saying.
The first one, though, I mean, I'm not saying. Well, it depends on how much you like the first one, because I mean, they're pretty much on par for me. So,
I mean,
it's the first time I've talked to you since the movie's come out. That's what I'm saying. So I haven't heard your review, but everybody else's review has ended with it's better than the first one.
And here's my other complaint, because Sherry just hit on it. Thank you, the lovely Sherry, dear. Wow, she's dressed in a habit. You did not go and do that to yourself. Well, anyway, rewinding. They acted too childish. Yes, they were far too childish for people that were 17, 18, 19 years old.
It's the big syndrome. This always happens in every movie when an adult plays a kid. I mean, I kind of let it go with these after a while, because it's everywhere. Tom Hanks got nominated for an Oscar for doing it, right? And if you watch the movie Big, he acts like a 6-year-old who's actually, he's supposed to be like, what, 12?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been that way since forever. Every movie, Vice Versa was the same way. What was that one with Dudley Moore? It was the same thing. With Kirk Cameron and him, Like Father, Like Son.
18 again. No, it's a different one.
18 again was with George Burns. That one, I don't know if it was so much the same, but like...
Yeah, I guess that was the reverse way around.
Yeah, well, he was a little bit older than the rest of them, too, anyway. So, it was like, yeah. But, like, it always seems like in those movies, Judge Reinhold was acting... Like, that's the thing. You know, you had a problem because Fred Savage is acting circles around Judge Reinhold to begin with. And Fred Savage already comes off like a 30-year-old in a 12-year-old's body. So when you got Judge Reinhold playing him... It's like, wait a minute, when did he all of a sudden become, like, 6? It's like, that's weird.
Yeah, it is, and I hate that. I'm not a big fan of the body swapping thing where it doesn't make a lot of sense. So I
just overlook it after a while because it's just part of the shtick, I guess.
Sure, but look, we want to look at these numbers because, I mean, it deserves a cursory observation of just how badly it did. But, typically the person is the person who writes the story is also writing the dialogue. Yes. I mean, or the writer's room. Oh, by the way, that's a conversation that deserves more length and not on this live stream about the fact that they're trying to expand writer's rooms for shows and things. They don't like mini writer's rooms. And I'm thinking, you're not going to protect jobs by putting more people in a room to make more crappy shows, but whatever. No, let's do this real quick. Let's take a look at these numbers. And thank you for the observation.
I thought you were going to bring up the picture that I had on here.
Oh, you have a picture?
Yeah.
Oh, here you go.
Yeah, this is pretty much the best part of the movie for me. So there's that.
I'm telling you, every single one of these people on screen were on the screen. They were doing a good job. These are very pretty people doing really good things. They did great. I mean, I'm sorry, but
she could be Wonder Woman, like if they wanted to do like a younger Wonder Woman.
That's a good point.
Reboot Wonder Woman, indeed.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
Donna Troy, I reckon, more so.
Okay, so real quick, I want to bring this up because I wanted these numbers to be talked about. This is where we're at.
Does it have the line of sadness yet? Outside of the cone of happiness, is that there yet?
Oh, you
Or is it
want
we
to
gotta
see?
wait?
You want to see
Do we have
my
to wait
line
till
of
next?
sadness?
I want to see the line
Okay.
of sadness. Is the
Okay,
line of sadness there?
okay.
yet?
They don't have. There's no.
Oh,
cone
not yet. Okay, we gotta
There's
wait till
no
next
cone
week.
yet. Yeah,
Gotta wait
yeah.
till
We'll,
next
we'll
week.
get to the cone next week. This,
man.
but I promise you, this is already a line of sadness.
Oh yeah.
At $65 million global. This is $10 million less, Tom, than the projection.
That's bad, right?
Well, I mean, some of the reports I read, they were thinking 20 to 30 million dollars, even though the studio was expecting a little bit more. And it's one of those situations where if this thing has any kind of drop that's the same as everything else that's been going on the last few months, it'd be a miracle if this movie reaches $100 million domestically.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you're talking what, maybe 200 internationally, 250 at the most, which is going to be a complete and total loss, considering they spent like what, 125, probably 150 after reshoots just on the production of this movie, not including the marketing. And wasn't there at least like a small Super Bowl ad for Shazam? Like I need, at least at some point I thought there was, maybe not like during the actual Super Bowl, but shortly around that. So, I mean, that's a whole bunch of extra money right there. Like there's no way this does not start off as a giant DC flop and another thing that they're just going to dumped a bunch of money into that they're going to lose their butts on. So I'm here for it.
You know, and here's the thing. I mean, you're spot on there, Jesse. And look, the lovely Sherry says the budget was $125 million.
Exactly.
Man,
Which actually is sad because I want to say that for a superhero movie, because this is the thing, you can't really make one of these movies for less than that. We've learned this now, and I brought this up before, because through when Deadpool tried to say, oh, we made it for, what was it? They said 60 or 70 million dollars, maybe 80, I can't remember what it was. They ended up getting sued by their animators and having to pay out like 20 or 30 million
they had to
dollars
write another $30 million check. Yeah.
because they
that.
were working them overtime and shit that they didn't pay them for. So like basically what we're learning here is the bottom line for these movies, and this is why producers hate these movies, is you just can't. Like even on the lowest of lowest ends, I don't understand why they can't, but they just can't seem to manage to do it. Although Everything Everywhere All at Once was made for $35 million supposedly, and that all the stars that had in it, to me it's the same level. That's what I'm saying. At the same level, I don't understand it why they can't, but evidently Marvel can't.
And look, if you watch RRR, right, and it's you know, and again, not the best, not
it's Oscar award winning film. Thank you.
There you go. Tell him, Greg. Tell him.
If you watch that film, you will be like, this film costs like zero money. Well, it didn't cost a whole lot of money, and it's equal to or better than any hero film we've had in the last.
It made up for it in manpower, though. I think it had way more manpower on it than any Hollywood film. I mean, just in extras alone.
The other part of that too is you remember all of these stories where the visual effects houses are sitting there saying they don't want to work with Marvel anymore because of all of the extra stuff that ends up they have to do, and then they have to change and then come up with options, and maybe we use this one, maybe we use that one, and they're coming up with all this extra crap that ends up never getting used.
Right.
And you know, you got to pay for all of that work too, even if it, you know, well, we just want to have it just in case.
Yeah,
well, and that's one of the biggest problems we hear about all that kind of stuff too, is these guys don't know their story before it's even done. They're literally still writing it all out as soon as they're going into production. So you've got all these CGI guys going, I don't know what you want me to do because your story's not finished, but you're expecting me to make product for you for a story that's not done yet. And then,
the end secrets on their animation script is they run for 3 minutes. Go animate that.
Yeah.
What the hell does that mean?
Right. Well, are they dodging things? Are they jumping over vehicles? Or are we just literally running down a back alley?
Sometimes they add those details in. Yeah, animate this character running down a street, dodging cars and rocks and things.
Well, we need a Batman movie made on a $25 million budget, produced by Vince McMahon. That's exactly what we need.
I removed the Vince McMahon part and you had me. But
no, it has to have Vince McMahon on. That's the only way this thing works.
Think how hot the girls would be.
Oh, yeah. Let me grab this real quick, guys. Camobot Killer for $2 says, the Batman or Batman animated series Best Batman. Which one?
Yes. I'm saying both.
Really?
Well,
the animated series.
Yeah,
the animated series.
The animated series.
Well, hang on. There was an animated series called The Batman, which was after Batman the Animated Series, and it was before Batman the Brave and the Bold. All three of them were animated.
But it
Of all
wasn't.
the
It wasn't animated
superheroes,
good.
Batman has probably had the most animated series. I'm sorry, Grant.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're gonna get the new one.
Yeah, that one's
You
coming.
guys saw that?
Yeah, and if you are looking for some real street level Batman love, something that comes right out of the universe, go check out a little known on YouTube currently a fan film called Gordon at Creative Force Films, written by and directed by somebody who knows their stuff, he's just a great guy, is a huge supporter of many channels. So check out Gordon at Creative Force Films if you're looking for that. It is really cool. It is very noir, black and white, and it is gritty. I love it. Of course, I have people not really experiencing it. You should. Eric K says, I heard it was more enjoyable than the new Ant-Man. If you're talking about Shazam, which I think you are, K, it is. It's much more enjoyable than the Ant-Man film, which we'll get to those numbers here in a minute. But
yeah, no, Batman the Animated Series was one of my absolute favorites. That was what I kind of broke my teeth on when it came to Batman, and then of course the original Batman movie too. So I loved all of that stuff. I just had to put that in.
Yeah. The 125 is the admitted budget. That's true. It could be more than that. After you take out marketing and ancillaries, this film at 125 million will have to be somewhere in the 480 range to be profitable. 450, somewhere in there. So yeah, that's when you look at all those things. You're 100% on spot. E. Clay Thomason says, is Shazam bad, or do people just not care enough to go see it? Wow, that's a good question. Jacob, what do you think?
Like I said, it's not, the movie itself is not that bad. I just don't feel like there's any reason for anyone to get out of the theater and go watch it. I mean, like you said, we've told everyone that, look, this movie really doesn't mean anything. This whole thing is getting rebooted, and it's based on a character that wasn't really that popular to begin with. So, I mean, there's just no real motivation for anyone to go out and be like, oh, I need to go see Shazam 2. Like that's the big problem with like the DC movies compared to the Marvel movies. At least with the Marvel movies, I know we'll talk about Ant-Man flopping as well, but at least with the Marvel movies, it feels like to some people, it's like, I still need to see this because I don't want to miss out on what the latest episode of the MCU is. There's no feeling of that for the DC movies. People are just like, look, we got like 2 Batmans and a bunch of other secondary characters I don't care about. It's like, if I miss this movie, it's like, oh well, like I'll watch it in 6 months on Netflix or something like that.
And that's kind of one of the things, especially with the Shazam movies and even with the rest of the DC movies. That's where I'm at with all of this, because we know the entire thing's getting reset. It's all getting redone. These movies don't matter. Why am I going to bother spending, $40-$50 to go to the theaters to see this when I can just wait 3 or 4 months and it'll be streaming on HBO Max or on video on demand, and I can get it for $5 or $10 and just sit on my happy ass on the couch and watch it from the house. Like, yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter anymore. They did this to themselves by telling everybody that all of this was going to get rebooted and that no one was sticking around. So,
yep.
Well, I do know this. We have the link to the Gordon fan film here, and I'm pretty stoked about what is happening. Wow. What's up?
hey,
Culture. Hey, everyone. Hey, chat. Have you by chance seen my razor? I haven't been able to shave my snowballs in days.
No, I haven't. I haven't seen your razor there, Mr. Cole. What? It looks like you've also lost your hat.
Well, I take my hat off to shave my snowballs, but I can't find my razor.
Oh no. What are we doing here?
We're just gonna go ahead and just I guess put the entire Shazam 2 story in one little nutshell here.
Sounds good. Yes.
There we go.
Oh,
Very nice.
Society Reviews. It looks like you're pretty clean shaven. Do you have a razor I could borrow?
I mean, I have razors, but no, you can't have one for your crack. Sorry.
Oh, I see how it is. It's because I'm white.
I mean, thought that was implied, but yeah, sure.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, Jacob, your mic seems a little hot to the audience, and maybe Mr. Grant Gregory's is a little hot as well. So
It's not that our mics are hot. It's like your mics suck. That's how I'm going to cope with this entire situation.
Hey, whatever you got to tell yourself to help you sleep at night, man.
Yeah,
I concur.
Okay, so you were still crazy loud there, Grant, but it's fine.
Is this any better?
Shoot. No. No. Why do I feel like I was just at the beginning of Men in Black, where you're pulling your skin back, Edgar face?
It's called Gain.
All right, so here we go. We got Camelbot Killer for $2. Thank you again for the super chat. I meant both versions of Best Batman. Ran out of room. I'm sorry. Okay, so Best Animated Batman and Best Movie Batman. So that's the question. I think Batman the Animated Series would be my pick for the Best Animated Batman.
Yep.
That's still not what he's saying. He's saying those two are the best versions of Batman.
That's what I'm saying. That's what he's saying. He's saying those two are the best version of Batman.
It's not a question, it's an opinion.
Yep, it's a statement.
Oh, I see.
I mean, unless you want him to send another super chat.
No,
to
I don't want him
it.
to send I don't want him to send another super chat. I hope I got it right.
Yes, send more money.
Yeah, exactly. Send more money in case we're wrong.
Culture's just using his boomerdom to like fleece these people in super chats right now.
Hey, it's called grifting, Jacob. It's called grifting. Welcome to YouTube. Okay, welcome to YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
See, I like this. I like Pattinson's Batman as a detective because that's something. That's a story that we have not.
But he's the world's worst fucking detective.
Yeah, but at least they showed
It's
that
the thought
aspect
that
of the
counts.
character instead of
Dark Knight did it
instead of
better.
punch pow, punch pow, punch pow. I mean, all of the other stuff.
As stupid as the bullet shit was in Dark Knight, that was still better than anything in the Batman. I'm sorry, Jason.
Well,
I seen that shit coming a mile away because I'm sitting here going, dude, it's a trap. It's a trap. You're such a fucking great detective. You haven't figured out it's a trap yet? It's trap. It's trap. Then the whole fucking town blows up. I told you it was a fucking trap. It's like, you suck, Batman.
Am I the only one that fell asleep almost every time they tried watching that movie?
When it got to a part where the 4chan guys took over Madison Square Garden and started like flooding the entire city, I just thought to myself, why is this still going? Like, why is this?
I was sitting here thinking, I've seen this shit before. It was called Batman Begins and Dark Knight Rises.
So what you're telling me is I didn't miss anything after I fell asleep.
Well, no, the way in which you write a Batman detective story is someone has a clue, he figures it out instantly, and then you move on to the next scene. It's the groundwork has been laid.
You
by the
are
great
all
filmmaker
wrong. The answer is
Schumacher.
Batman Forever. It has everything in it from any Batman era, and it has the detective stuff. It has Batman being Batman. It has Batman and Robin. It has an old school version of the Joker, Riddler. It has an old school version of Two-Face.
It has a hot blonde.
It's set
Does it
in
have
its
a very
own
hot
kind
blonde?
of Gotham universe to where it's like very like, gothic. To me, I think it captures every avenue of Batman you can capture. It's not the best of them, but I think it captures Batman's essence the best.
And that's
Or
another
they,
confusing thing. It's like, so we got the Robert Pattinson Batman moving forward, but then we're also doing another version of Batman with the Robin that nobody likes, and then we're doing Joker 2 on top of that, which is also in its own like little thing. Like, there's too much things going on in DC for anyone to make sense of any of it.
Well, and that's why they're
no
trying
room
to.
for Henry. No
they're-
room. Too full.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, but they're trying to do it all as Elseworlds because basically, Warner Brothers is in such bad financial straits right now that they're like, look, if it made money before, we're making another one because we have to make money, which is why Robert Pattinson's Batman is getting a second movie. It's for the same reason why the Joker is getting a sequel as well. They're going to call them Elseworlds.
It's a musical, though. That's such a weird.
Put Lady Gaga in it, man. What did you expect?
Yeah.
Of course, there's going to be some music in. I mean,
look,
hell, they did that to American Horror Story with having her in
They
it.
put Margot Robbie in as Harley Quinn. They didn't make everyone Australian, so they shouldn't change it just based purely
Which,
simply on
trust
one
me,
person.
no one wanted anybody Australian, so don't worry about that.
For the record, like putting Lady Gaga in that movie has completely killed any interest that I had in that film. And I loved the first Joker movie; like it was one of my top movies of that year. But I
Okay,
don't
so
care.
I have to say, I just
Oscar interest in that movie just went up 110%.
But here's the thing. I disagree with Jacob on that one too, because I watched American Horror Story Hotel. Lady Gaga can act. she did a really, really good job in that series. There's plenty of things to complain about some of the American Horror Story, but the Hotel one, she did a really good job in. She was a very devious character in that, and I'm actually kind of curious to see what she actually brings to their warped version of Harley Quinn that they're trying to do in this Joker too. I'm actually kind of interested in what she's going to do.
I don't deny her talents as a singer and actress, but as a person, I just can't stand Lady
Oh,
Gaga,
I agree.
so-
Oh yeah. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
But I can still separate the art from the artist.
Real quick, I just want to remind everybody that Mr. Cool does need a razor. If anybody has a spare razor,
Please.
I think he looks.
I got
better
some of
with
them
the
Jeremy's razors in my
that a
bathroom.
weave?
Well, no,
It is
it's
a weave
actually,
from Weavicino Beards. Yes.
It's actually a donation from Culture. Yes.
That's what I was going to
Yeah,
ask. Is that from where the Elastic Culture's weave got donated to? That makes sense. It looks nice. That explains it.
It was only $2.99 at the dollar store.
very nice.
Yeah,
Glad
you
they
know
put it
what
on
more
this.
razor-
Well,
now.
you got ripped off, man. That Biden inflation's terrible. That's like 3 times the amount.
Well, that's the
Right.
reason why Culture does not have his own theme song and Brahma does, because that's where the money's at.
Exactly.
you guys.
Yeah, but he does have a special done by David Attenborough, so it's close enough.
Well, I think I make more of a proper co-host now with Culture. We look
Yeah,
alike.
well, you fit in more with the facial hair.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
Yes.
you'd definitely be missing out. Even
I
Jacob's got
think it makes
himself
you look
nice
distinguished.
stuff
That-
Yeah.
well, or something. like
manly.
that. Wow,
What you
Jake-
should do is just trim it.
yeah. Just get some shears. JT Gunn, late night with Cap. What's up, going, man? What's going on? We got gift 1 Culture Casino membership. Thank you for that, my friend. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
And Brian Barth keeps asking a question in the chat about: is Batman and Robin better than the Batman?
Yes.
Wow.
Ooh. I grew up on that movie, and I don't even know if I can say that. The back
Yeah,
credit
I hated
card.
that movie.
I wouldn't
Come
go
on,
quite
the
that
back
far.
credit
I
card.
wanted to walk out, but you know what? It's still, and I wish Script Doctor was here because he'd tell you, yes, it is actually a more comic accurate film than the Batman.
Okay, I can see
Well,
that, but it's
Comic
oh my
accurate
god.
doesn't mean that
Batman and
good.
Robin's fucking corny. That's the problem.
Yeah,
It's corny, but
It
guess
can't
what?
be
So
to a
was
whole other
Batman in the
level.
1950s and 60s if you read the comics. So,
in
yeah.
in the 50s and 60s too. Yeah.
Yeah,
but
Batman
I
didn't
don't
go
know.
dark until Miller, so
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
now-
but that
now, when
created a lot
Denny
of
O'Neil-
issues, too.
When Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams were doing
Please,
stuff in there in the
please.
80s, yeah, there was a time, 70s into 80s, DC Comics took him away from the Batman 66 camp. And when Neil Adams was drawing it, some of those stories got pretty serious and grim. And that was where we started to get the modern Batman in terms of the aesthetic and the types of stories they were telling. And then of course we've got Death in the Family and Batman Year One and all that other stuff that came out of that. So
Well, I mean, and if nothing else, you have to admit that she looked really good as Poison Ivy, if nothing else, in that movie. So
There
and
was
Uma
it was
Thurman?
it was a more comic accurate Bane than what we saw in the Christopher Nolan
Yeah.
movies.
Yes.
Honestly, that's what never made sense to me is you got Arnold Schwarzenegger, who pretty much is Bane.
He's
minus-
Bane.
Right. Yeah, it would have been a much
Like,
better
minus
Bane.
the background, obviously, he's not the right culture,
That's
but you know what? It doesn't fucking matter. Like,
But you
you've
know
got one of
actors
the
like
smartest
that-
bodybuilders in the world in the movie, and he's not playing Bane. What the fuck?
But that's the problem with actors like that. They can't put aside their ego to wear a mask for an entire movie. So
When he wants to be.
See,
Arnold,
that's because
he
somebody didn't explain, or did that movie come out before Bane had broken Batman's back? I'm trying to remember. When did that happen?
I think
No,
it was,
yeah,
I
that's
think
above
it
my
was
pay grade.
after.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, because if it would have happened
after.
already, all you would have had to do to sell that part to Schwarzenegger and been like, Arnold, guess what? What? He'd be like, you want to play Bane? Why? Bane doesn't do anything. He's stupid. He's like all a big bodybuilder, dumb guy. Like, no. Bane's the guy that broke Batman's back. I'll do it. Like, it's all
and
you
we're
had
gonna
to
get
tell him,
Sylvester
like-
Stallone to play Batman.
Yeah, the movie came out in 97. Batman Nightfall was 93 to 94.
Okay, so yeah, it was a few years afterwards.
They should.
But that was not the direction they were going in at all for
No.
those movies. They were
Not for
going
that movie,
straight
no.
camp.
that's way too serious for that corny. ass.
Right.
No, but if
I
they'd
just
have
want-
told him
Please.
that, he probably would have.
I just want to say, and Anonymous Gamer is correct. The Batman nipple suit.
Oh God,
It's
no!
my favorite thing ever. Truly,
It's a piece of history.
it is. Piece of
Yeah,
something.
dark, very
How
dark,
does-
very dark history.
How does George Clooney feel knowing that he's pretty much the only Batman that Warner Brothers has not tried to bring back in any capacity over the last 25 years?
Did you hear that rumor? Did you hear that rumor like a couple of weeks ago that's at the end of the Shazam movie or at the end of the Flash movie? George Clooney's supposed to replace the other one as
Which
Batman at
makes
the
no
end.
sense.
No, it makes no sense. But that was the rumor that was floating around like a couple of weeks ago. And
no.
that was, they were
Grace
pissed.
Randolph.
Oh
I
yeah,
wasn't
I'm
big
sure.
on trying to
Randolph,
get
that's-
Val
that's
Kilmer
nothing.
back either.
So,
Get it, Dub. Get it, Snow Dub.
Well, this is what Culture does on my show. He comes on my show and brushes his hair through the whole thing. So I thought I'd just return the favor. Now all I need is a bowl of popcorn.
Well, you need to get you the taper going so you can look like a proper villain.
That
That's what
reminds
you
me.
need
I
to
want
do.
some popcorn now.
George
see?
Clooney. George
I
Clooney
got some
continues to go on an apology tour for Batman. He'll
Yes.
he'll even
Why?
Well, I
This was
mean,
horrible.
he's like I totally get why nobody would ever.
I
Want me
used
back
to
for
hate that movie. But guess what? Dark Knight Rises and the Batman happened, and I had a whole new outlook on that movie afterward.
That's funny. Yeah. Now I grew up with those movies. Those movies literally came out. I mean, would you say that last one came out in '99?
The last Batman was 97.
No, the Batman and Rob. Oh, it was 97.
Yeah, that was 97.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was like, that was literally, I literally had to be in like 5th grade when that movie came out. So I loved that stuff as a kid. But looking back at it, it's like, yeah, it was campy as hell, but it's a good, fun trip. I mean, Freeze running around, doing everything. Like, because you actually got like a little bit of an emotional story arc with Freeze. You understood where he came from. He got his little bit of his redemption at the end. And then Jim Carrey playing the Joker at the end, just being completely and totally insane, going, I'm the Batman.
Well, that's Batman
Like-
Forever, and it's
Yeah.
Oh, is that
and it's,
Batman Forever?
Riddler.
Sorry.
He was the Riddler.
Yeah.
Well, you have to appreciate Batman Robin just on this front, that if they had not dropped the ball on that one so horrendously like they did, you never would have gotten the Christopher
Right.
Nolan movies almost a decade later. So
That's a good
Well, and
point.
those
it's,
movies still
it's the
haunted
only
those
it's the only
movies,
set where the Batsuit had been left on set. No one actually wanted to steal it. That's how bad it was.
The Bat Nipples one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh no, I'm sure
He
some
should-
gay guy
no.
wanted that.
No,
So wait a minute.
and look,
Joel
it was not.
Schumacher wanted
It was
that.
not Joel Schumacher's fault because there have been all sorts of coverage on this, all sort of media. And Tom, you probably have heard this as well.
He's
this was-
apologized.
This
but
was
yeah,
Warner Brothers marketing.
100%.
This was the merchandising people sitting there saying, "We want this thing to sell toys," and that's why we got the movie that we got.
But
the
then why
whole
are we
reason
getting
Batman
nipples
Forever and Batman and because Joel Schumacher's gay and he likes to have fun.
on? So remind
was.
me who the bad guys were in Batman and Robin then.
Batman and Robin was Mr. Freeze and Uma Thurman is Poison
Okay,
Ivy.
that's
but
Yeah, that's
the
what
whole
I thought.
Yeah, it was
reason
actually
the whole
technically
reason
was-
this happened
Okay,
was
that's what I thought.
because of Batman Returns. Batman Returns came out and parents freaked the fuck out because
Why,
you
the
have the
Penguin?
penguin sitting
I mean,
there,
He
like,
bit off a
basic-
guy's nose.
bit
I mean,
off a
they're-
guy's nose, eating raw fish, talking about Catwoman's pussy. You got Catwoman looking like something straight out of Playboy.
Yeah.
I mean, in leather fetish whips and everything
but that's
going
what
on.
she looked like in the comic.
I know, and it's
though,
been something that's
too.
carried on ever since, right? To me, here's
Yeah.
the thing: as
And it had the best Batman villain of all time with Shrek.
my favorite Batman movie is probably The Dark Knight, but my favorite like guilty pleasure Batman movie is Batman Returns. Why? Because it's fucking amazing. It's batshit crazy. You got the Penguin doing everything I just said, and you've got, like you guys just said, Michelle Pfeiffer being hot as fuck. You know, I
That's-
mean, and the
that's-
soundtrack is better than the first one as far as the Danny Elfman score. And you got all this great shit in it, but the reason is because of that stuff.
And you
McDonald's
got
freaked out,
Christopher fucking Walken.
and Christopher
Right.
fucking
Yes.
Walken on
Oh
top
my
of it all.
god, he was so good. How is that? How do you consider that a guilty pleasure? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that
Because
first
as far
one,
as
that's
a Batman movie goes, it's the farthest away from Batman. Batman's
Oh.
got zero fucks to give. He's killing people left and fucking right in that movie.
Well,
He
and-
does
I really
not give
didn't.
a
we-
shit.
I mean,
You
I
don't
really
know
didn't
that he
see him
just-
as killing people. I just saw him as
He
not.
kills
beating the
like
living
3
crap
people
out
in
of
the opening
Okay,
fight,
there was-
dude.
Well, there was
He
that
said a-
one
he
guy
said
that
a
got
few
blown up in the
people-
car, and they
Well,
he was
okay,
just kind of like letting
allegedly.
their
We
own
don't
stuff blow
we
up
don't
in
know
their
how many
hands.
cases were found. There was a guy that he
Right.
warmed up gently
Yeah.
with the exhaust pipe. I mean,
Yeah,
it
so,
wasn't
I mean,
necessarily
yeah.
killing them.
Look,
Okay,
Batman
right.
doesn't kill people. He just makes sure you're in financial
He
medical
maims.
debt for the rest of your life.
There you go. Permanent hospital, permanent comas don't count as death. Okay.
He'll live.
Okay. All right. So,
But anyway, to finish the
Everybody-
story, so
everybody's super passionate. So please,
let me finish the
Yeah.
whole point
Yeah,
here.
go
It's like,
ahead.
okay, so
Go ahead.
McDonald's freaked the fuck out at Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is like, we're gonna lose any future Happy Meal deals with McDonald's if we ever do this again. So whatever we do with Batman 3, it has to be different. So they brought in Tim Burton, and he said he sat there for about a half hour pitching all these ideas because he was excited finally for the first time to do a Batman movie because he did not want to make the first one. He was reluctant to make the second one, but he had so much fun making the second one that he was looking forward to part 3. He said during the second one is where we finally got like, well, if we don't get to it in this one, we'll get to it in the next one. And he started getting excited about that. And when he come into the meeting, he said he's sitting there for a half hour talking about all his ideas, and everybody at the table was just dead silent. He's like, he goes, well, what do you guys think? And he goes, then one of the guys speaks up. He goes, well, Tim, wouldn't you rather do something else maybe? You know, is there another project that you'd like to work on for us? I mean, we want you to do this, but he's like, no, you don't. You really don't want me to make this movie, do you? And they're like,
That sucks.
well, he's like, it's fine. It's fine. He's like, all right, I'm done. He's like, and that's it. He walked away from it all because at that point he realized that they were not going to make the movie he wanted to make.
See, and that sucks because that could have gone down, at least as far as from a fan perspective. And like you said, it maybe not been the most comic book accurate, but that could have gone down as one of the best Batman trilogies of like all time because
Well,
of how
Warner had to
there's
pay
so
out
much
the
fun.
ass for that too, because they had to pay Billy D. Williams his entire amount because they decided to bring in Tommy Lee Jones instead, and they had a deal with Billy D.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because he did the first one for next to nothing with the promise that he would get the payday for the third film when they brought him back for the sequel, or the inevitable sequel, and he sued him and got paid his full amount. I think it was like $8 million or something like that after damages and everything. I can't remember. Maybe it was only like 5, but I can't remember how much it was. But it was quite a bit because he did the first one for like scale or whatever it was.
Nice. Good to know. Very good to know.
Yeah.
That's why I love coming and hanging out with all you guys because like I just recently started like digging deep dive into a lot of this stuff over the last couple of years. And so many of you guys have such great backgrounds with, you know, Hollywood, and you've been paying attention to this stuff for so long. Like I love coming and hanging out with you guys because you're just a wealth of information and it feels like such an education. Like it sounds kind of sappy, but I really appreciate that because
And
you
then
guys
Warner
have been
just
great
kept
sources.
shoving down Joel's throat. It's got to be more toyetic. It's got to be more
Well,
for the kids.
isn't it kind of amazing how the guy who wrote Batman and Robin went on to write A Beautiful Mind just a couple years after that?
Well, people forget Joel Schumacher directed Lost Boys and shit like that a few
He's a
years
great
before
filmmaker.
that.
Oh God, Lost Boys was so
Time
good.
to Kill. I mean, Joel Schumacher is one of the best directors of all time. Didn't he also direct that Michael Douglas one, where he went nuts?
Wasn't there a few
What
of
the hell's
those?
it called?
Oh, yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Hang on.
Was it called Falling
I
Down?
might be wrong on
yeah.
that one. Falling Down. I'm not sure if he
Yeah.
directed
Falling
that one or
Down.
not, but he might have.
Well,
been a producer on
I
that.
believe he did.
Real quick. Tom, do you want to explain why we didn't get?
Oh shit.
Thank God.
Okay, I'm gonna give you the shortest version possible. Here's what I suggest you do. You seek out the amazing documentary The Death of Superman Lives by John Schnepp. It is one of the greatest documentaries about a movie never made, ever. Right up there with that Dune one that never got made. And actually, it's probably a better documentary at the end of the day, but it was a movie that they got literally days away from shooting and everything fell apart. And this is where we say, you know, it takes a million things to go right for a movie to happen and only one thing to go wrong to derail the whole thing. That's kind of what happened here. We and honestly, nobody really knows what went wrong other than the studio got cold feet. But it was supposed to be Tim Burton's next big feature for them. There's footage out there of Nicolas Cage in his suits and all that kind of stuff. It got really, really, really close to shooting, and they pulled the plug. And unfortunately, the budget that went into that got tacked on to Superman Returns. So,
Yeah. See,
but, yeah.
You know why I love this is we have so many well-informed people in our audience too. So it like people just add information. We're freaking blessed, but I still think there's a Superman I really, really wanted. I really wanted Nicolas Cage.
Oh God.
I really wanted
I'm
Nicolas
more of an
Cage
Earth
to-
protector, Lois. Lois!
Wasn't Ghost Rider enough of abuse for you as Nicolas Cage?
I love
as
Ghost
a
Rider. What is wrong
No,
with
no,
you?
no, 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 no. Okay,
It was
okay.
fun.
I love those movies, as a Ghost Rider adaptation, as the one comic I actually got to read for a little while consistently as a kid was Ghost Rider. I love Nicolas Cage. I love Ghost Rider. Those movies were horrendous because Nicolas Cage played Nicolas Cage, not Johnny Blaze. And he
Well,
was
we'll get
way
Nicolas
too
Cage to
old.
play Hugo Strange in a Batman movie.
No. Nicolas Cage is lobbying to play Egghead. He actually, they were talking to him. Where was this? Was it Sundance? Because the
South by
movie
Southwest?
movie where he's playing himself opposite.
Oh
opposite
yeah. Tom,
Victoria.
you saw that the something I have talent.
Unbearable likeness.
Yeah.
No,
The unbearable weight of talent.
the unbearable weight of massive
And
talent.
they were
Yeah.
talking to
Massive
him
talent,
about
I
it, and
think.
he said he would love to play Egghead in Matt Reeves' universe.
I'm an egghead.
I can see it.
All right. Well, let
Because
me ask this.
He's got an idea of Egghead being absolutely just psychotic.
Oh, that works in
So
Reeves'
Nicolas
world.
Cage.
The
Heck, it
Superman thing was a passion project for Nicolas Cage because he
It was.
loves Superman. He
Yeah.
named his kid Kal-El.
Kal-El.
Yeah.
Wow, did he really? That's
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah,
Okay,
see,
so
my understanding was.
Real
I was
quick.
just- go ahead.
Go ahead, Jesse.
All I was going to say was my understanding was the reason why they cast Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider, at least the rumors that I heard at the time, was because that was the only superhero he really wanted to do, and that's why they ended up putting him out. I don't know how much truth that is. That was just what I heard when the movie was coming out, so I don't know.
Yeah. Brian Barth wants to know from you looks like what if they made Darren
Darren Aronofsky.
I cannot say that name. Batman Year One. Didn't we
Oh,
kind of get
Lord.
that just now? Wasn't that just what
Oh
happened?
no. Darren Aronofsky though, he was the one who was going to make that Dune movie.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, but I'm saying
He tends to go a little bit morbid with certain themes. I couldn't imagine what he would do. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is Batman would have one hell of a costume.
yeah. Look, I know this, Steven Sacedo, and great to see you again, man. Hope you're doing well. Says it's always amazing how close we get to having these epic films. Then it dies, but over time, as we get more info about them, the call to have made it becomes louder, and then sometimes rebirth happens. Yeah, it does. But there are times also, and this is the thing that is really crazy, when thank God the film died.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. There's a lot of them. We can look back and say that, thank God they died.
And Tom will tell you, and so will like people who do television, and specifically Paul Chatto. You know, it takes a million things to go right to get a film done. Just to get it done.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be miles down pre-production. You can have set locations picked out. You can have a budget established. You can start putting people in motion to like take care of things, right? And wrangle trailers and the whole nine. Because basically, when you go to location shoots, you got to build a fucking city because people are going to be there for 3 or 4 days. And this is the thing that most people don't realize. I mean, good producers, they're on top of all this stuff from the very beginning. And you have to get the right grips in place and all this. It just takes so much. Even with all that work done, even that far down the line, your project could still get shit canned.
Yeah.
It's insane. I don't know.
And
Isn't
it
that
could
one of the
be,
nice?
it could be something as simple as an executive changes and goes to another studio. I mean, you look at what happened with John Carter. John Carter got killed because everybody who was involved in greenlighting that project wasn't at the studio by the time they were making the movie.
Yeah, look at Solo. Hashtag Solo lost money.
Boy, is that the truth. But I mean, I think isn't that one of the kind of the nice things about how we see the rise of the independent filmmakers now is you don't have near as much of a worry about it because the technology is becoming so much cheaper to create high quality stuff, and the editing stuff is so freely available to so many of us. It just seems like you're going to see more. I mean, obviously you're going to have rights issues if you want to get like, Batman and stuff like that made, but a lot of these guys that are out there making their own independent stuff, they're making good quality things, and you don't have to worry about these big studios coming in and just snatching things out from existing. That's why
Richard Meyer is already talking about how he's got plans for when Superman comes into
the
public domain.
Oh, yes.
He wants to do some stuff. I mean, Can you imagine what Comicsgate would do with a
Oh yes! Oh my God! Yes, please. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's why I'm so excited about the future. That's why I don't want us to give up. That's why I want to keep pushing and holding the line, because we've got all this stuff that's getting ready to come in the public domain. I mean, blood and honey, whatever you want to say about it, that's the sign of a really great thing to come. Because now you could, when that stuff happens to Batman, when that stuff happens to Superman, yeah, you're probably going to get some really wonky horror movies at the same time. But you're also going to get some really good. Yeah, you're also going to get some really good fan-made stuff that's made by people that are truly passionate for the characters. That'll be better than anything we see from the studio.
Blood and Honey was as close to a fan-made film as possible, though.
Yeah.
Well, and this is to answer the question earlier. This is probably what Darren Aronofsky's Batman would look like, because that's Batman by Mobius right there.
Yeah, and look
to Jesse's point, we had a story on this yesterday on Good Morning Multiverse. The animation software that DreamWorks uses, it's called Moonray, and they're making it open source.
Yes!
So you can take the same animation tools that DreamWorks uses for Puss in Boots and How to Train Your Dragon and all that, and you can start using it. It's going to go open source.
See, and I think that's one of the things that's going to make Universal succeed so much more, because they're being open source about that kind of stuff. Anybody can put a Minions on a t-shirt and sell it, and they are not going to get sued. You put Mickey on a t-shirt and you're going to get sued, even if you're the smallest creator on the planet. Universal doesn't care about that kind of stuff. They're willing to make their stuff open source. They're willing to allow other people to use it. And that's why you see these huge fan bases from all of their IPs.
Yeah, and that's the difference. But see, the thing is, they have really good lawyers that can defend their IP, regardless of the fact that they still let people use it. Occasionally. I understand what you're saying. I'm looking at a bigger world, because yes, things are going to enter the public domain, and they are. But we have a universe of creators that are making good things now that will be culture tomorrow. We've got Vinny Art out there. We've got any number of people. Nerian Noah's out there. She was on the show here just a week or so ago. We've got a lot of incredible talent in our own sphere. Look at Eric July. Look at Tom already mentioned Comics. Look at all of these people that are making just amazing stuff. Right, it's really they're like 3 steps away from being, the next Warner, the next Disney, the next whatever. The problem is it's getting those steps down and having a path to do it. I think right now we're seeing pathways cut by people in the right direction. When it comes to all this stuff, we have people making films. Like I said, I already pointed out, the Gordon fan film that Patrick Logan put together, with his own production company, Rising Tide. And of course, that's over on Creative Force Films. Eric K already dropped the link to that already, but we're seeing people do that now. And there's talent everywhere. Atlanta's if you want to make a film with talent, and you don't want to go to Hollywood, and you don't want to go looking for it, go to Atlanta. There is a boatload of people there, and people will answer your questions when you're looking to do that kind of thing. So thank goodness to that, let me tell you.
We've got a pretty robust independent film community here in Kansas City too.
Yeah,
this is actually where, all those timed 48-hour film competitions and stuff. This is actually where those things got started. We have one called the One Night Stand, which is a 10-hour. You get your elements in the morning. You shoot it, you edit it, you screen it that night.
Wow.
And that's been going on now for probably, 20 some odd years. But yeah, the timed film festival competition stuff that started here.
That's incredible to know, because Jason, I grew up in like the entire Kansas City area. I mean, I grew up all over that place before I joined the military, and I didn't know anything about how big the film industry was up there. That's really freaking awesome to know.
Yeah, it's gotten pretty solid. And we get a lot of reality shows that come in here, and people when they come in here for any kind of production, they're always just amazed at how much they can do without having to get permits. And the highway system, you got access. I mean, you're 15 minutes from anywhere practically. there's a lot of different architecture around. I mean, you could do
Kansas City. Yeah, the Kansas City area between the two states has like just diverse architecture. Holy cow! From you have Gothic. There's all kinds of crazy stuff there.
Got a lot of the old colonial stuff. And if you go like 30, 45 minutes outside of Kansas City and get out into the counties, there's no permitting requirements. They don't give a crap what you do out there.
You don't even have to get permits in Kansas City.
Oh, for any of that? Nice.
They like the money. They like the money. They like the money that comes in with the shooting. The only thing is if you need to close a street, you gotta get a permit for that. But other than that, just out shooting, you don't have to have a permit.
That's awesome.
And here's an interesting idea that I'm in favor of. Axel Braun works in the adult industry, right? Usually the most comic accurate costumes you're gonna see. I'm just saying. But could you imagine if he went mainstream?
Oh, wow. I mean, a lot of those guys that are into the smut life, though, they never want to leave it. They're in that business for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, if he was, that would be. How about this? His costume designer moves into the real comic book industry.
Yeah, and this is the true, and thank you, Athala, for being here again. I really like the scene in Atlanta. There's a very cooperative feel. We just want to see each other succeed. Yeah, I look, just engaging in the interview, the wonderful interview I got to do with the producers and obviously the creator of the Gordon film. That was probably the best time I've spent in a long time doing an interview. So much information. There really is a sense of like an actual, and I hate to use this word, community, but it's true. Down there, there's a community down there, and they do a wonderful job. Sorality lives near Pinewood Studios. That's
I never felt like this
Tom.
Yes, I swear.
I'm jealous.
What are you jealous of?
That Sorality lives near Pinewood Studios.
What's Pinewood Studios?
That's where they shot movies.
Obviously, thanks, Tom. I had
Superman,
no idea.
You may have heard of James
Superman,
Bond.
Star Wars, Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Bond.
Okay, thank you. Like I said, I
the
come
second
here
and
for an
third Star
education.
Wars. I don't know if they shot the first one there.
Okay, so studios are places where people go to make films. Okay, so
Thanks, Grant. I've read a dictionary in the encyclopedia before. I was just curious about the more specific references. Appreciate that, though.
At one time, it was the largest studio in the world.
Well, studios is also a place where you can go to make music as well, so you got to be
Oh,
specific.
no, the 007 stage.
They also have dance studios.
Okay, but
Right.
Oh, and there's a hair studio as well.
That's right. You know, I have got one of those
studio
right
back here.
There you go. I got a studio right here.
All right.
Love you, Culture.
Speaking of studios, the biggest studio in the world, almost uncontested, is Disney now, right? And because I like to rub salt in wounds, there's a very, very big wound out there right now. And
Gaping wound?
It's gaping. It is gaping.
Pussy sore.
This is a film. This is a film. What just happened? Brought it in. There it is. That has lost money and isn't going to make any money. It's going to lose at least $100 million. Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania, $462,633,350. Done.
Talk dirty to me some more. Tell me more. I mean, it's one of those situations, like, it couldn't happen to a better company. I mean, it really couldn't. After all the wonderful quality projects that Disney Marvel has brought to us, all the wonderful characters that they have been so very accurate about bringing properly from a comic book adaptation to the big screen. I mean, the stories, they've been so close to the original source material. Like, the comics are the costumes are so accurate. The characters' personalities are so accurate. Like, they got exactly what they deserved. Burn, Disney, burn.
Hey, people were gonna go out and watch Kang, right? Didn't you guys love Kang? Jonathan Majors is the greatest actor of our generation. Why did you guys see Kang? Aren't you guys hyped about Kang?
He was Kangs, plural.
There was literally Kangs at the end of the movie. Did you not see that?
Oh my god. No, I didn't. Thank God. And clearly most of the rest of us didn't either. Based on these box office numbers, let alone.
Look, just because I'm mildly racist does not change the fact that they made a black guy Kang.
Right. And that's what, like, now, correct me if I'm wrong, but like my understanding is of the original source material, isn't he supposed to actually be a descendant of Reed Richards?
Yes.
Yep. Which means
Okay.
they're going to
He's
race
played-
swap
he's
the
played
Right,
by
because they're going to have
Fantastic
to
Four
race
too.
swap Reed Richards, right? Like, unless
Okay.
for somehow in
Okay.
the future, when your children are genetically altered, you get to choose their race
Oh,
before they're
wait a
born as
minute.
well.
Are they going to end up having him play Reed Richards too?
Oh,
I don't know, but I know this. That the China box
shit.
office, which kind of is back, at least for Disney, which it had been absent for a while.
That they only
Right.
get 30% of.
Yeah, that's true. They get 30% of $40 million.
They get
got $10
30%
million.
of bragging rights because I'd like to see that actual 30%.
Well, I think that's the only reason they do that too. I think it really is for bragging rights. They know they don't make as
It
much
has
money
to
overseas. They figure of that that company that's got, or that country that's got over, company is probably more accurate, but that country that's got over a
They're
billion plus
corporate
people in it.
overlords.
Yes, exactly. That corporate overlordship that has over 1 billion people, they just figure it, if nothing else, it makes our numbers look better internationally, even though we know we're not making any money. That's the
You're
only
talking
thing I
about
know.
India, right?
this is Bob Iger saying, "Look, I got us back into the China market."
Right.
Good for you.
Even though it
And
does nothing for the bottom line.
Right, but it does burnish his reputation a little bit.
Yeah,
Because
polishes.
I
his knob.
still think he's going to run for office.
He can't.
Really.
I still think he will.
Yeah.
Can I tell you guys a little inside baseball here? So my son, 12 years old, going on 13, he was a big Marvel fan before, basically up till Endgame. And then, of course, he didn't like the transition of all the women taking over the movies. That said, he had the choice of going and see Ant-Man. He was an Ant-Man fan. He's a huge Bill Murray fan from Ghostbusters. But him and his friends went to the movies yesterday. I picked him up last night, and they went and seen Shazam. Now, that being, the whole theater was empty. I guess they had the theater to themselves on opening night or whatever. But it just goes to show that they chose Shazam over Ant-Man as a group of kids, just a random group, So I know that doesn't, explain everything, but it does kind of go to show that Marvel is losing its grasp on young boys, young men. They're not digging it anymore.
Good.
Well,
And
that's a good thing because when they have their grasp on young boys, what happens?
Yeah.
Yeah. Disney.
Oh,
Ask Florida.
But to piggyback off what Snowdub was saying, I was watching Flashcast last night, and Cecil was talking about this. Cecil took a bunch of his nieces and nephews to go see the original Ant-Man movie, and given obviously this was a few years ago, but they were super into it. They had a great time. They absolutely loved it. He said just last week he went to take them all, basically the exact same group of his nieces and nephews, took them again. They were literally bored out of their minds. They were playing on their phones almost within minutes of the movie. Like they just didn't care at all.
Did you tell him that Kang was in the movie?
Right, yeah. Right.
The big problem with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and I haven't seen it, but just looking at what kind of story they're telling, it's not an Ant-Man movie. The thing that makes the first Ant-Man movie work so much is that it's self-contained. It's a smaller picture. It's a heist movie. It doesn't have to, it doesn't spend all its time with big, epic, sweeping, grand, universe-changing, high stakes. It's smaller. It's more personal. And this one, just looking at all of the trailers, looking at all the marketing, all the hype about it, this one feels like, well, you have to see this one in order to understand everything else that we're setting up. And that's not why I go see a movie.
No.
I don't want to go see this one to tee up all of these other shared universe things.
Yeah, it's called Ant-Man 3, not Janet Van Dyne 1.
But that's exactly, and it's a real problem that they've been suffering from across the board because, as Jason was pointing out, they're trying to tee up like all these other characters via these series, and they're trying to intermingle stuff, and nobody has any interest in it. They didn't have any interest in it when they were the failed comic book properties, and they aren't going to have any interest into the any of these other things. You bring in the all new, all different, the new 52. You bring in all that other kind of craptasticness, and the audience is going to say, "Suck it." And it doesn't matter if it's DC or Marvel or whatever new iteration of garbage you pump out there. The audience rejects it soundly. roundly and wants no interest in it. And you know what? Sam makes a great point here. Sam says specifically, even though young boys is why they bought Marvel, it's also why they bought Star Wars. Because
and buying Marvel and Lucasfilm is also one of the things that factored into why they didn't pursue John Carter.
Yes.
It's because all of that happened at the same time. It's like, oh, we got this John Carter. Oh, no, we've got Marvel and Star Wars now. We don't need John Carter anymore. And they jettisoned it as quick as they could.
Well, and that's just because of the timing of it, right?
Yeah.
Because this clearly all boils down to Pirates of the Caribbean was a huge fucking hit for them. It was one of the first hits they'd had in a long time that boys bought into. And so they're like, oh, wow. Look at this. We got some money here from boys. That's awesome. Boys like toys even more than girls in certain cases.
Exactly.
So they're like, well, what can we get here? They tried Tron. That didn't work. They tried, like you said, John Carter. They even tried the Lone fucking Ranger.
Oh, that was
right?
bad.
Like that was the bottom of desperate
bad.
barrels to go to try and get boys to come into this shit. It's like, you want to pick one of the worst fucking characters. Nobody knows who the fucking Lone Ranger is anymore. Like, not since like 1972 does anybody know who the fucking Lone Ranger is. Anyway, so like that all happened. So then clearly the idea was sound, right? It's like, okay, well, we're Disney. We're on this huge, level. What are the two biggest boys properties out there? DC and comic books. Well, we can't get that. What's next? Marvel. All right. Well, what's on the other side? Star Wars. All right, let's get that. So on paper it made fucking sense.
It made sense, yeah. And again, it made a lot of sense, but then they promptly turned it into chick stuff, which
is where the woke came in, right? Like that's totally.
You know what I want to see? I want to see somebody make an actual real. And I had plans for this. Sadly, they have fallen by the wayside. I was going to make the definitive 100th anniversary Lone Ranger movie on a scale to compare with Lawrence of Arabia. I was going to make that big movie. Never going to happen, sadly, but you're all going to miss out. But we need a good Lone Ranger film, and we need it in the same. If you're going to do shared universe, the Lone Ranger is connected to the Green Hornet. And you could do Lone Ranger, you could do Green Hornet, you could do the Shadow, you could do the Mask. There's all sorts of superhero properties out there. The Phantom, bring back the Phantom. Because that was a fun movie.
Ooh, the Ghost Who Walks. We haven't seen that for a while.
Ghost Who Walks. There's a whole superhero universe that's just complete untapped potential. That's
and it sounds good, but hang on a second, because there are some super chats that got buried I didn't get to, and I wanted to say that Darth Scipio is 100% right. They lost all the new boy fans. There are no new boy fans because you know what? The dads aren't taking their kids. The dads aren't taking their
also have the
sons to
effect,
Star Wars and Marvel or anything else. But
and you have the opposite effect too, because you also have the parents feeding into the kids, going, "Well, you should want that. You want to play with Barbie."
And the kids are like, "No, I really don't." Camelbot
like, "No,
says,
I want to play on my fucking phone."
Yeah, mostly. That's true. God, I
my
hate
Nintendo
screens.
Right.
Switch.
Yeah. Camelbot Killer for $5 says it reminds me of a Hee Haw episode where everyone puts a fake beard and facial features of a redneck. Yeah, that's what Mr. Cool was doing. I agree with you. Are these reals? Meteor Advocate Timon Flip. Hey, great to see you, buddy. Sends $5.50 in, I think, reals, right? From Brazil, right? Anyway, second best Superman. Christopher Reeve is first. That's true. Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, 93 or 94. The animated series, 96. Tom?
Forgot George Reeves.
Oh, that's
Okay.
also true.
I grew up on that Lewis and Clark show. I absolutely loved it. And Dean Cain is based as fuck. And I like him a lot. And I love the fact that he is still a huge Superman fan and he still loves the fans that love his Superman. But as concerned the fact that literally my logo is from Superman, the animated series, I kind of have to put that down as my favorite just because, I couldn't resist that. I
Out of those
love every
choices,
episode of
yeah.
that. I love every single episode of those.
Christopher Reeve is first.
No question.
Man, I'd put George in there. That's just me.
I would too. But the thing is, though, Dean, for all that Dean Cain did a great job with that character. Physically, he's not. He and Brandon Routh are both kind of in the type, but they don't have the build that you really expect from Superman.
Yeah, but you could say the same thing about Christopher Reeves though in those movies too. He wasn't the big, broad-shouldered dude. He seemed kind of tall.
But he was big. I mean, he was built to look like Superman, and he went through this whole exercise regimen with David Prowse as his coach, and did the whole bodybuilding thing. And they Tom, check me on this, but I want to say they ended up reshooting a couple of things after he bulked up even more. In that
I don't know about that part,
remember.
but you can tell a big difference between his screen test compared to what he looked like in the movie, big time.
Yeah.
See, because I'm one of those people that when I saw Brandon Routh, I was like, he literally could be the son of Christopher Reeve when I saw him in that movie. And I know a lot of people didn't like that movie, but I mean, I rather enjoyed it for what it was. And as a continuation,
he never got a fair shake to play.
No, I don't think he did absolutely at all. Because like I said, I literally think he was he could have been the direct twin, if not son of Christopher Reeve, if nothing else. I mean, spit and image on all of that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I really enjoyed that movie. I think it gets way too much hell for what it is.
It's like a third of a good movie, unfortunately. I mean, and I like it much better than I did Man of Steel by far, but
yeah, see, and I'm one of those. I know a lot of people I know I'm among the minority in this group. I was a big fan of Man of Steel. I absolutely loved that movie, and I understand all the criticisms when it comes to the fact that Clark Kent didn't save his dad. And yes, I completely disagree with that too. But other than that, I'm one of those that I grew up in the 90s with kind of more of the dark, grittier superheroes that we saw, a lot of that kind of stuff. And I really enjoyed seeing that side of Superman, seeing those challenges of trying to be the good person, but then sometimes realizing that there was no other choice. And I wanted to see after that movie, I wanted to see him after that go, okay, we have to do things different. What happened in that movie should have launched him into being the ultimate hero, the Boy Scout for the future and all that other kind of stuff. And I don't think we ever got the chance to see that. So
real quick before we move on, my best buddy on the planet, this guy down here, his name's Tom Connors.
I thought that was Tom.
well, so basically what Common Nerd is saying, just like every other Snyder fan, because this is the common thing with Man of Steel is, he's just learning, he's still becoming Superman. So you want Superboy is what you want.
Well,
because
and you gotta think
people forget that the original Superman, he comes out of the Fortress of Solitude fully formed. There is no day one for Superman. He comes out as Superman because he's Superman.
Right.
That's the thing that bothered me with most of that movie. Besides, let's not even get into the fact that, he fails to save his father, and his father said he should have let a bunch of people die just to hide his powers. Yet over some dude slapping some chick on the ass and throwing a beer can at him, he destroys his semi truck in a way that would take I don't know, fucking a bunch of cranes and shit to do, and leaves a big trail of crumbs for Lois fucking Lane to find him.
So what you're saying is he's creating jobs, so he's good for the economy.
There you go. I like grandson, but it's one of those things you have to understand where I come from on this perspective. I didn't grow up with these comics. I wasn't reading all of these as a kid. The biggest exposure I had to a lot of this stuff was the animated series that I grew up on. And so it's one of those things I liked the change of pace. Now, if I had seen all of those changes and paces over the comic book years and stuff like that, I probably would have appreciated that. I'm going back and reading Superman for All Seasons right now, which is what everybody tells me. If you want a true, good, heroic representation of Superman, that's what you need to read. And that's what I'm trying to go back and learn about now. But it's coming from the quote unquote normie, the common nerd perspective. I loved the Snyder Cut stuff, but I was also a big fan of Snyder Cut's Watchmen. I was also a big fan of Snyder Cut's 300, or of Snyder's 300, so it wasn't one of those, I didn't come into Snyder knowing him from the DC stuff. I knew him before that, and I was a fan before a lot of that stuff too. So
I enjoyed 300 and I enjoyed Watchmen, and I actually argued that the end of the Watchmen movie is better than the comic. I know that's sacrilege, but to me it makes more sense.
Yeah, the crazy alien species thing.
You know, a giant squid monster fan?
No, I'm not. It makes very little sense, and it ties better when you do it with what's
The movie.
his face, Blue Man.
Yeah,
Okay,
the movie makes a lot more sense.
Okay, I'm hitting timeout. Okay, timeout. We need to get some more super chats.
It's fine,
Okay.
man. It's fine.
So
Okay, yes, brush it. I mean, Mr. Cool. I mean, Culture. So confused. See, this is when Mr. Cool and I were competing.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Cool is actually downstairs looking for a razor
Needs
right
to
now.
trim it.
Oh, good.
He grabbed a kitchen knife. I don't think that was a good
That's
idea.
a bad
not
idea.
a good idea.
That's
should I
bad
get a
idea.
brush? Should I get a brush for my beard? Is that
I
what-
just
You-
want to
you
say though,
probably should.
before we move on from this, because Common Nerd was saying, like, I get it. You know, you don't have to have grown up with the comics or anything like that. There's one specific scene in Superman 2 that really kind of tells you everything you need to know about Superman that Man of Steel didn't get. And that's the scene where Clark is like, don't, the people, you know, he's freaking out at Zod. And he tries to draw them away from the city. And Zod goes,
Right.
he actually cares for them. Like pets, I suppose. You know,
Yeah.
like,
No,
that
and I need to
right there
go.
tells you exactly everything you need to know about Superman. Is he is first and foremost about saving people. And the moment he drug, was it Non or whatever the hell version, whoever was kicking the shit out of in the movie, when he drags him into Smallville, I'm like, wait a minute here. Why is he dragging him into town instead of out of town?
Yeah,
Makes no
and I mean
sense.
that's fair too.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Jesse,
one
if
of those-
you want a really good origin story for Superman, look at John Byrne's 6 issues Man of Steel,
hold on.
because that was the reboot after Crisis on Infinite Earths. I want to say it was when was it 96?
All right, you said John. What was his name? I'm writing it
John
down.
Byrne, Byrne. John Byrne did this thing, and it explains all of it. It explains the suit, explains his why he's the superhero, and it's a really good.
What run did you say
start.
it was?
It was Man of Steel. It was 6-issue reworking of the story after Crisis. Let me
Okay,
let
cool.
me look it up.
All right,
Sweet.
and
Perfect, thank
I'm gonna shut down that for just a second. I do have super chats, guys. I got to get to some of these chats and super chats. So I have to say hi to Larry because the name is so nice. You say it twice. It's Larry. Brie Larson sent me a $20 super chat. Brie,
You want Bree to read
thank
it?
you. This yes, you
I
have
read
to.
CultureCasino. I
Okay.
can read very well. I'm an actress.
Oh, okay.
Tay.
Okay.
Ah.
All you can send is $20, you cheap slag.
All right. Well, she's not going to be getting near as much off that new Captain Marvel, Captain Marvel 2. Oh, I mean the
it's
Marvels movie.
all.
Brie's
Oh,
amazing.
excuse me, because you know how to read. All.
Oh boy.
Okay. I didn't know that was all. There's too many L's for it to be all. All you have to do is put me in a.
Marvel.
There's an E in it, so it's an A. No, it's
Marvel.
got an E in it, so it's Marvel.
Okay.
Marvel movie.
Okay.
And everyone will want
Guys,
to.
I don't think she knows how to read.
Don't show your feet.
Yeah, please don't.
You want to see my feet?
No.
No, please, for the love of God, no.
See, oh, long E.
Is that
See
Tom's-
it?
It's like a bunch of Vienna sausages with
You'll-
like Fritos on top.
you'll- That's a big word. You'll.
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 Yeah,
You will. You'll.
You will.
Yowl. I think
Yuletide.
it's more. I think it
Yule.
means like Yuletide. I think that boy's right. Make like 10 billion. I know that word. Dollars, and I know that word.
Well, it wasn't made for us. We're a bunch of over 40,
No.
men. It's just.
Well, there's another one, Bree, that you sent us. Do you want to read that too?
Yes. Culture. Just saw. That's a big word.
Commercial.
Commercial for Universal Orlando. I know I've
Yeah.
been there.
Yeah.
With the tagline, "It's more than magic."
There you go.
See, I can actress.
Uh-huh.
Cold-blooded. Is that what
Yes.
I meant? I meant cold-blooded.
Yeah.
Trolling Disney.
Yeah. And it's harsh and it's beautifully done and well done. Tim Twinkle, I'll keep her quiet.
What do you mean?
Oh,
Your Muslim uncle sends me a member chat. 17 months. Thank you for your support, my friend. Assalamu alaikum.
Hey, is that Tom's face on Brie Larson over your shoulder, or is that just a weird animation of it?
This is Brie Larson. Have you not seen Brie Larson?
No, it kind of looks like it's Tom's face on there.
A stunning and brave woman.
There. How about this? This is Brie.
Look at my beautiful face.
Maybe I'm just only used to looking at her from the neck down.
Too, Culture.
What do you need?
I have a new button you can add to the culture to the channel too. I'll throw it into you in a private chat. But
all right. Oh, can I show this? Is this safe?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Just in case you ever feel the need to just
Oh, I need to add that. Oh my God, I don't care.
So
it's always sunny in Philadelphia. That's right. Okay,
Very
but
nice.
yeah, thank you, your Muslim uncle, for 17 months, and your member chat says, "Hail all, great way to end the weekend." Where did I go? How is Bree more important than me? Oh, jeez. Okay, I'm back. All right. Dang, I don't know what happened there. I do know this, that our good friend Latino Slant, what's up, Paul? He says Snyder's Dawn of the Dead is my favorite of his.
I hear nothing but good things. Actually,
Written by James Gunn.
Monkey Jeebus says network TV is dead.
We are network TV.
We are. We have become that. Darth Scipio thinks I need a machete to shave. That's a great film. If you haven't seen Machete.
Machete's good.
Or Machete Dog.
I have a machete and two swords.
KR Nut 82 says 1986.
It was a
That's the year I was born.
Very good year.
The year I was born. How you feel old now?
I can see clearly now. The rain is
Bought
gone.
some beer with a fake ID. The name was Bobby McGee. It was a very good year.
No, you guys are crazy.
I love you, Tom.
I'm
It's so much
crazy. All right, we got one more topic to get. You know what? I'm gonna do this from the why the heck is this being done, and does anybody care category in the world. This is gonna be a surprise for many of you.
Is this that Salem's Lot thing I put up yesterday?
No, this is worst.com.
Is this Renfield?
Oh,
No,
Lord.
this is worst.com.
I want to actually see Renfield.
I'm actually kind of curious. It looks funny.
It looks kind of
I'm
funny.
I am
Yeah, it looks kinda
Dracula.
If you chill out, I'll show you.
We're waiting patiently, obviously.
You were
Good-
like the worst
good-
build-upper ever.
good
Oh, fuck
burger
this.
too.
I'm out.
What? Who cares?
Tom
talk
really
about a
did-
movie that came
I
out 30 years too late.
Yeah,
Dude,
fuck
I
this.
saw
really don't
this.
care.
I saw this article and I literally didn't even give a crap.
They even
enough
tried to make
bother
a big
doing
deal
anything
out of
about
it
Like,
because they
nobody
announced
cares.
it. What was it on Jimmy Kimmel or some shit?
Oh, I don't know. I don't care.
Well, that's
one of those
oh yeah,
shows.
because there's so many people watching Jimmy Kimmel that I'm sure everybody got excited.
Here's the thing. Good Burger 1 wasn't even good. So it's like, we're supposed to be excited for Good Burger 2 like 30 years later.
I mean,
Didn't they
that's one
do
of
a
those-
skit on Saturday Night Live?
That's where it
for
all
this?
started. Yeah.
No,
that's
it's
where
like
it all-
on Fallon Show or something like
Was it
that.
Fallon?
Oh.
Yeah.
It was one of the late night shows. But yeah, it started out as a skit and they made it into a movie. And it's like, you either just have to have like an IQ of like in the double digits or just have to been completely out of your mind under some kind of the influence of something for that movie to even be slightly entertaining, because it was the same repetitive, literal.
I
dumb
think it was
crap
the show
over and
that
over
he was
again.
on before SNL. Like, what was it? All That? Yeah, all that. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Yeah, something like that.
I
Yeah,
do
no.
not care. I was not a fan of the. I never saw the
No.
originals, so
I mean, they're
This is
almost
on you guys.
50 now, right?
Right.
They're both
It's
almost
still
50
working
years
in
old.
fast food. So what? It's basically Clerks 3 all over again. Great.
Well, at
Yeah.
least in Clerks 3, they owned they
I
owned the
have
gas
not
station
seen
by
it.
the no wait, I didn't see the third one. I always saw the second one. In the second one, by the end of it, they at least owned the gas station. I
Yeah,
didn't see the
Kevin
third one
Smith
either.
and me are not on talking terms right now because he blocked me. So
I mean,
Oh,
when they
nice.
started this skit, they were like, what, 16 years old? And now they're
Right.
like both in their mid 40s. So
Right. They're
Old
both older
Burger is
than-
more like it, like Monkey Jeebus said.
Nice, Monkey Jeebus. Yeah, Old Burger. Hell yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I was 13 when that was a thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
correct.
and then
Way
you can't
past my
bring
time.
back Dan Snyder to be the manager anymore because everyone knows about him now. So it's like, what are you gonna do with
Oh.
this entire?
I just remember when this kid played Fat Albert. That's all I remember. But
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
speaking
God,
of
that was great.
speaking of wonderful humans, Railway Nation sent me a member
Missed his
chat.
member
Says,
chat.
What is with Brie Larson AI? Will CC? It's creepy. Yeah, I got rid of it. It's fine.
Yeah,
I'm not an AI. I'm very smart.
Yes.
yes, absolutely.
Why you
agree.
sound like Lindsay Lohan circa 2005?
Don't
Oh,
you
that was
judge
after
me.
when she went blonde and all the everything else. She's looking
Yeah.
good now too. She's gotten all healthy and
I
like,
have not had that much to
she's gotten
drink.
a baby and like getting ready to like.
She's
try to
looking
change
good
her
for a
life and stuff.
56-year-old.
Yeah, I mean-
Hey man, cocaine will do
35.
that. Okay, that's a hell of a drug. Like,
She,
homeboy
she
said,
looks
it's a hell
good
of a
until you
drug.
realize she's only 36.
Yeah,
but
she stopped looking good when she went blonde.
But you realize the only reason that Good Burger is coming out, it's not coming out to be a film. It's not coming out to be anything other than a Paramount Plus thing.
It's
Nostalgia.
a content movie.
Oh, content for content's sake again.
Yeah.
Yep. We have to justify people spending $10 a month on this streaming service. So here's a
Yeah,
Good
hey,
Burger movie, guys.
Yeah, Good Burger's totally gonna justify my $10 a month. Yeah, that's
Kel was great in Mystery Men. Yeah, and I love
Oh,
nothing
Mystery Men.
nothing against the actors at all, because I like Kenan Thompson and I like Kel Mitchell. I think that's great. But what I don't think we need was well,
A Good Burger movie.
Yeah, Good Burger too.
we did not need Good Burger too.
I'd rather have Mystery Men too.
Yes, please.
Yes.
God, I love that movie. My grandfather took me and one of my best
Okay.
friends when I was in 5th grade to go see that in the theater, and we absolutely loved that movie. That was so much fun.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Would any
You're
of
going
you,
to anyway.
I mean, it's your show.
I mean, your show, yeah.
would any of you like
Let them get a word in edgewise.
would any of you like to see a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen 2?
Yes.
No.
No.
Yes.
No,
Please.
but if they can do the reboot correctly, I'm open to the idea. And they've been talking about it for years.
Nope. Give
That
me
movie
Sean
just
Connery.
killed Sean Connery.
No,
Oh, I was
I
like,
want.
can
No,
we-
it didn't. Not at the end. Not if you watch the bonus scene at the end. Sean.
No,
Connery,
I mean like
want-
literally in real life it killed
Killed
him.
his
Like,
career.
Oh,
He
I
walked,
didn't know
yeah,
that.
he walked away from acting after that movie.
That's true.
Oh,
like, fuck this
really?
shit, I'm out.
I'm
What's
done.
funny-
Wow.
what's funny
I
is
was
love
gonna say-
that movie. God, I
He
love
did Zardoz, guys. How did he not walk away then?
that.
That's how bad League of Extraordinary
Because they're
Gentlemen
letting
is.
him
Like,
keep the
I've
I
done
love that
Zardoz,
movie.
and I was
don't
in
care.
Highlander 2. Fuck this shit.
I don't
You know what we
I
need,
loved him as
uh,
Quartermain. I thought he was so good as Quartermain. I loved him.
Guys.
Honestly, I thought that was just a fun, campy. Like I said, that was one of those movies that came out when I was a kid. Like I just loved that. I loved The Invisible Man. I loved freaking Bride of Dracula. Like I loved all of that stuff. I thought it was a great twist on everything. And I've always loved the Jekyll and Hyde stories. I've always loved all of that kind of stuff. Like I've always loved that old horror mystery stuff from like, late 1800s to early 1900s stories, like that kind of stuff. I loved all of that. So yeah, I thought the Mystery Man was a blast from the beginning. I want that car. I want Nimoy's car from that long ass like 12-liter engine freaking limousine that he had that went 900 miles an hour. Like I want that. I loved all of that stuff. So yeah, it might have been bad. It might have been a horrible adaptation of the comic book, but I don't care. That I'll take that as a guilty pleasure. I am totally okay with that. Give me a second one, please.
Well, I'm a huge fan, and it's fine. And everybody's talking about Lindsay in the chat, but and you know what? You can't make it without Sean. I agree.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
He needs to get that witch doctor needs to be over the ground in Africa, and he just needs to burst all the way up out of that ground, gun in hand, and go. All right, let's do
no,
this.
we just need that staff of the gods in like Wonder Woman to roll up with that thing, because
There you go.
dang.
Lindsay Lohan. No, my bad.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Nope.
I was
Lindsay
just gonna
Lohan as a redhead in a bikini on the beach. Just putting that picture out there.
Lindsay Lohan was like hot for like a year, and then she just like immediately fell off. Like it was like the fastest like rise and fall I've ever seen in my entire life. And yeah, you can thank the.
That's what happens when you know how to suck
nose
dick, but
candy.
you don't know how to handle your nose candy. Exactly.
Yeah,
Nope.
that's what happens when you can't handle booger sugar.
Megan Fox was pretty tied for second there, or tied for first. I don't know. That was not good.
I heard it
Megan
pretty quick that I heard it pretty quick that she
Well, you
didn't
got to be
shower,
good with your mouth
so-
when you got club thumbs like that, man.
Dude. those are called toe thumbs. Anyway,
Yeah, whatever.
Mecca J for $5 says, I liked Good Burger, but was anyone asking for a sequel?
No, just
No.
Cal.
Yeah,
He
just
hasn't
for that
been working.
paycheck.
I need
like-
money.
Keenan is still working, right? He's on SNL.
Yes.
He's like the only thing on SNL.
Yeah, he had his own show for a period of time too, if I remember right. But yeah,
He's been on
he-
SNL for like 20 years.
Yeah,
So basically-
Ethala says, because the Coke and hose budget went a lot farther then. Yes,
Coke and hose.
God, Hollywood was so much better when they ran on Coke and hose.
Gary says it all the time. We'd much rather have coked out Hollywood than woked out Hollywood.
Indeed. Brian Barth wants to know.
He stole my saying, which was basically we need capitalism and cocaine back in Hollywood.
We do.
100%.
Everybody's on the right track, is all I have to say about that. Question: why did Sean Connery retire, Tom?
The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
So what was it that was so bad about that made him want to get out?
Like I just
completely?
said, motherfucker made Zardoz and Highlander 2, and after that movie, he's like, fuck this shit, I'm out. So whatever happened on that movie or whatever was going on in his world at that time, he's just like, deuces, exactly. Yeah. He's just like,
You know what?
fuck it.
I'd love to hear the backstory behind that.
I would love to see Alan Quartermain again.
Yes.
But I don't think Brie Larson's right.
The other kicker for Sean was
Jennifer Lawrence.
He turned down. You guys got to understand. Sean also had recently just turned down the role of Gandalf.
What?
Because he didn't get it. But yet he went and did League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and that movie flopped, and Lord of the Rings became huge.
Yeah.
So I think at that point he's just like, clearly, I am not with whatever anymore, and just was like,
you know, and you can honestly, to a certain degree, you can kind of respect that. Somebody who realizes that, you know what, it's just not my time anymore. And you wish more people would step back and realize that, because we have so many people that are clinging on to power, so many people that are clinging on to stardom, that it's like, dude, you're over. Like how many Dwayne The Rock Johnson movies do we need to see fail before everybody realizes, like, dude, you're a great wrestler, you're a great side character, but you can't hold a movie. You just really can't.
Most of Congress should have that conversation too.
Oh yeah, well that's kind of what I was implying, but I didn't want to make this political.
Hollywood needs to have like their own like Ric Flair retirement match gimmick. It's like this is it.
If you can't survive in the ring for longer than 30 minutes, you're out of Hollywood.
If Fella just hit a home run here, I want to see James Purefoy as Solomon Kane again. Yes. Hey, Tom, are you leaving us now?
yeah, I got to get out of here. I don't know how much longer you plan on going, but you've been going longer than I got to go. So
I'm sorry. That's not my fault.
It is because you always start early and you're like, oh, I got to get in there. I got to go bed.
Tom.
He started on time tonight.
Tom, I love you, Tom.
Someone asked you.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it. My show has been set up for a week.
You know, Valiant show never gets done before 8 o'clock.
Then I will move my show back a half an hour. Okay.
I have told you that repeatedly.
I will move my show back a half an hour because I love you so much.
Thank you. Okay. This is all I got to do is just nag him and nag it. Is that what it takes? Culture Boss, is she listening?
Yeah,
So
she's listening.
You're
cackling
essentially
in the
the
background. She know that we're right or what?
Oh no, you're definitely right. That she
You just got to
yeah.
keep nagging you and shit changes.
Yes.
So remind him every 6 months, just like a
Except
typical
that's
woman.
not kind of. I mean, it's not
Every
really
6
nagging.
days.
It's just corrective action. Hey now.
See, you got him trained. Holy shit!
All she's probably got to do is say, "I'm hot," and he immediately gets
I
up
didn't even
out
have
of
to make
bed
my own
and turns the
excuse.
fan on.
He is totally trained. Good job. Man,
Good job, Culture Boss.
that's right.
Go eat
Let's
your
hear
pizza.
for the Culture Boss.
Go
She
eat your pizza. Go.
Yeah.
So
Look, that's for the
Hi,
Culture. She deserves that. And then this is just to remind you that you do not have a jingle yet.
If you want a meat that will fill your mouth, grab Brahma's balls.
why don't I have a jingle, Tom?
Because you don't sell enough. Later.
Mad Mardigan has his own jingle.
Yeah, he does.
Did Mad make
And
his
he don't
own?
sell nothing.
I don't have a jingle, but I do have the voice of Yoda doing all my liners.
Hey, that's worth something.
I
I finally
offered
made
to
an
do a
outro
voice
and an
work.
intro.
I would have done sci-fi for me, TP.
Okay, Tom. Let me talk to you afterwards. I need somebody who can do a William Conrad voice.
Okay.
All right, just hit me up. See what I
It's
can do.
probably not Tom, but okay.
Maybe
Well, he was
not.
close just there.
It was a joke. He was mean to me.
Culture's
Coming
getting his digs
soon.
back in.
No,
Culture
say, Tom.
Casino in whiny little bitch.
Bye, Tom.
Right, Tom.
That's my best friend. That's normal.
With friends like that, no one needs enemies.
Oh my!
Whoa, hello, my dear. Who the hell is that?
This
That's
is
current
Lindsay
Lindsay
Lohan
Lohan.
weeks ago.
What? Finally, she went back to the red hair. For the love of God!
Yeah.
I still prefer the fuller face on her, though. Back when a little, I don't know. I prefer the slightly rounder face.
Well, that's probably the
I
coke
don't know.
boat
The
that,
crackhead jaw kind of does it for me.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, it's because you know they're desperate. You know they'll do anything for a little hit. It doesn't take much to get them to do pretty much everything you want. So understandable.
Mecha J knows this is exactly what Tom's doing right now. He's getting a pizza. He was saying it in the background. He was mad at me because I went and got a snack.
I ate before I streamed.
Tom likes midnight snacks. You guys know that, right? That's why he's like creating the channel, Midnight Snacks.
I was gonna say, hasn't he supposed to been working on that for like a few months now?
I'm mad at him because I thought it would be done already.
He's too busy eating the snacks.
Well, but then that'd be a great way to combine two things that he loves. He could stream and eat snacks at the same time. Like, I don't see why there's a problem there. Like, it just seems like such a duh. It seems such a layup.
You know what? National disgrace. You're right. She could play Jean Grey looking like that. Yes.
She could.
Yeah. Wait, Lindsay Lohan?
I don't know if she's tall enough though. She's kind of on the shorter side.
Height doesn't mean anything in Hollywood.
Yeah, it's camera angles. Yeah.
Look at Tom Cruise.
Dude, I got one of my co-hosts on my
like
Wednesday night show.
5'4".
Dude, one of my co-hosts on my Wednesday night show, Moss. I literally thought homeboy was like 5'9", probably like 6 foot tall. Dude's literally like 5'5". Like, he's short as hell, but you could not tell by looking at him.
Phrasing, Tom. Phrasing.
It's like prime Lindsay Lohan was like Herbie Fully Loaded, and then that whole thing just fell apart like Building 7. It's like, I don't know how it happened so fast, but yeah.
I mean, literally, it was like that Herbie Love Bug movie. Like, you saw that picture of her in a swimsuit on the beach, long red hair, looking gorgeous as ever. And then literally it was a year later, you saw her as a blonde in that black dress, getting out of that limousine, looking just skinny, all, nose candied out to hell. Like, it was bad.
Yeah, and then it only got worse after time.
It did. It got bad quick.
What just happened?
Who did that? What?
I wonder who could have possibly been responsible for that.
I don't know. I mean, there's only one person that really has control over things like that.
No, there isn't. Grant.
That's right.
Grant has the con. Whoa, Jesse's gone.
Yeah, that's probably for the best.
Oh, rude! What a dick, Grant! I thought we were friends after all the hours we spent together on Friday night. I see how it is.
This was a sad moment, right? I was very sad when I heard that they were breaking up.
Oh, poor ass.
Really
Holy.
Oh
God.
yeah. She's doing some light reading of her own book. This is actually
now, is that actually a woman?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Just checking.
Wow. Apparently, look at something. My goodness.
Dude, I remember that scene because they had what's her face on for that episode.
By the way, if anybody is interested in Grace Curry's, Mary Marvel's career, she's getting ready to do the sequel to Fall, the one where they're climbing the tower.
Why would she need to do it? I saw Fall last year. That movie doesn't require a sequel.
I hear there's one in development.
That's
don't know why.
That's dumb beyond belief. I mean, the movie's literally about them climbing a tower and one of her friends dies, and then she gets off the tower. So the second movie, she's going to climb up something else that she's going to need help getting off of because she prepared poorly for a second time.
This one's set like 70 years in the future, and she's stuck up a step ladder.
Oh, God. I mean, that one only made like $22 million on a $3 million budget, which, I mean, versus his budget is great, but it wasn't like anything that set the world on fire either.
Yeah.
No, but I mean that kind of profit, it justifies making a sequel. I mean, look at the Sharknado movies.
And you have the movie theaters that are sitting there saying we need at least 100 films in the theaters this year if we're going to survive. And basically saying, this is it for us.
It's existential at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, bad movies, good movies. Let's just get.
Funny enough, looking at her IMDb page, she doesn't have another movie after Shazam coming out. So
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Which one? The brunette we were talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Mary
Well,
Martlet.
she needs it. She needs to have some more movies coming out because that's another one of them situations where Hollywood doesn't know how to spend their talent properly. I mean, think about how long they wasted Henry Cavill. They've wasted Henry Cavill pretty much his entire peak of his younger years. And now you're going to take this other chick that's probably a really good actress that you could utilize for a lot of good things, but because she doesn't fit all of the quote unquote check boxes because she's actually attractive and she's probably straight. That won't that will automatically make it to where she will never get elevated to be the movie star that she should properly be. And then if it was 20, 30 years ago, she would absolutely be, just because of the fact that she can act and she's really fucking hot.
Imagine being a Hollywood studio and telling people, yeah, we don't have a spot for this girl right here.
Which is insane. Yeah, I mean, that's just insane. But okay, so we usually do a thing. We have an extended outro that happens after we say goodnight to everybody. So be aware. Usually people do dumb things. And I'm sure with the six of us, dumb things will be done. But I do want everybody to have a chance to say goodnight, Grace. I mean, we're good night, Gracie. Snowdub is the puppet you want to hang out with, and he's muted. So great.
Way to go.
So you mean what you're trying to tell me is you decide to exit when everybody's muted and nobody can promote their stuff? Is what you're trying to tell me?
No, what I'm trying to say is this: this person should have a job.
Yes. Please.
Yeah, how do you not have...
I can think of a million jobs for her.
How do you not have a spot on the roster for her?
Yeah. Like, I mean... Okay, this is going to sound like a horrible thing to say. This is absolutely going to sound like an absolutely horrendously horrible thing to say. But maybe Harvey Weinstein actually made some good decisions in Hollywood?
Wow, I hope she wasn't one of them. But yeah, I will.
But you know what I'm saying, though. Like, at least you know how to pick hot chicks.
Wow, if I acknowledge that, I get in trouble.
I know, trust me. I'm looking at getting canceled just by saying that. Harvey Weinstein is an absolute monster. He deserves to be in prison exactly where he deserves. That does not mean even a broke clock gets things right today.
Hey, here's the best promotion I can give Shazam 2. They're much bigger on screen than you think that they are.
I'll say this. Christopher Dominguez sent us a member chat. Thank you for being a member, my friend. It says, great show, guys. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Okay.
Have you seen the box office numbers? They need anything they could get right now.
Good job, Jacob. Good. Okay. DC needs to hire you as their PR firm.
All right. Jesse, since you are talking a lot right now, I'm going to let you do your outro, and then maybe
that'll shut me up. Is that what you're trying to say? I
doubt it.
I am Jesse with the Common Nerd. I bring you pop culture and all things nerdy through a common sense lens. I generally produce videos at least 5 days a week. I live stream on Wednesday nights and then on Sunday afternoons from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Wednesday night, we are doing our Winding Down Wednesdays. We are going to have the noob reviews on. She is an up-and-coming YouTuber who is completely and totally a noob to all of this kind of stuff, obviously because of her name. She just recently crossed 1,000 subscribers. We're trying to get her over horror watch hours right now. So come and hang out with us on Wednesday night from 6 p.m. Central to basically probably whenever we go. We used to stop at 8, but it goes a lot longer now. I have absolutely wonderful co-hosts, Diesel, Moss, and Sevi that will actually be absolutely lovely and entertaining for you all. So come hang out with us on Wednesday night from 6 to 8 p.m. on Winding Down Wednesdays, where we'll have the noob reviews as our special guest, and occasionally, God only knows who else shows up. Hell, even sometimes Culture shows up, and who else knows who we can get on there. So thank you all so very much out there in the chat. You guys have absolutely been wonderful. The fact that there has been so many of you here watching this entire time has been absolutely beautiful, wonderful. Without all of you out there in the chat, we would literally just be sitting here talking to ourselves, and that would not be anywhere near as entertaining. You guys are the thing that keeps the lights on. You guys are the things that keeps us entertaining, and I cannot thank the chat enough. And then we have things like this. And holy God in heaven, this is why I have certain guests and certain co-hosts on my channel. So keep an eye out for that.
Somehow we can't get this girl a movie.
I forgot to bring this up too. I looked at this earlier. I am at 2,169 subscribers. I am less than 41 away from 200. So definitely go check out my channel if you have not. That's the Lindsay Lohan I remember. That's the Lindsay Lohan that I fell in love with. That is the redhead I dreamed about in high school. So.
Speaking of dreaming about redheads in high school, well, did we lose somebody? No, we lost something. We have Snowdub, redhead in high school, right here.
What? Wait, my redhead? What? Where?
Weren't you a redhead in high school?
Me? Oh, my father was.
Oh.
I'm half ginger. So
It counts.
yeah.
That
No,
was disappointing.
subscribe and stuff. Oh wait. Oh yeah. If you guys like R-rated puppet shows, like really crazy zangy shit, and you want a few laughs, come check out Snowed Up. I'm actually almost at 2,000 subscribers. If half of this chat subscribes to me right now, I'd probably hit it. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for having us on, Culture, and lay off the coke there, Common Nerd.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're.
Allegedly.
I don't know what you're talking about.
They call me Snow.
No, trust me, Bubba. I am this hyper naturally. If I don't even drink caffeine. Imagine me on caffeine, let alone that.
No.
Never give him a Red Bull.
The next thing to imagine is this man here, Jason from Sci-Fi for Me TV.
Yes, and we have quite a bit going here. A number of programs, starting with Live from the Bunker Monday through Open Line Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern. It's a live show. A lot of times we have guests. I like having guests more than I like just ranting and just me. But we have all of these programs for you to enjoy. A lot of some news, a lot of talk, opinions, various different topics that we cover throughout the week. And we are on YouTube, Odyssey, Rumble. We're not broadcasting live to Rumble yet, but we are going back and simulcasting to Twitch. So now I got to update that graphic. But yeah, we're all over with science fiction, fantasy, horror. And in 4 days, we will be 14 years old.
Wow.
That's awesome, man.
Wow. You know what? The Disney producers are going to stop chasing you around. Watch out.
And we're at 2272 subscribers on YouTube. So we're getting close to 2,300.
Allegedly. Thank you for
Allegedly. That. Yeah. I keep losing a few. It's like we get 2 and lose 1 and get 1 and lose 3. It's like YouTube, quit messing with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't mess with them. Instead, let's mess with this guy. He talks about stuff. He writes things and he sees movies. What's up, Jason? Jacob. Excuse me. My goodness, Jacob. You guys, I'm confused.
You just blew the promo. Just look right out of the gate.
We look so much alike.
What? Okay, let's try that again. All right. Talk about. I don't even remember what I said. This guy writes more than I do and sees films.
Vince would fire you right off the bat.
Most
just
people.
Culture, I know how to do intros. Do I need to do this?
No. Get off the coke. All right, Jacob.
Well, I'm closing on 800 subs on YouTube, so I guess subscribe to Society Reviews on YouTube there. Tomorrow night, myself, Rob, and Rick Aragon, we're going to be talking about the Shazam 2 movie in great detail. Then Tuesday night on the Barroom Podcast, Ginny Ortega, we're going to talk about her. People are propping her up as a victim of cancel culture when she's benefited from it. We'll talk about Blade and how that whole mess of a movie, they'll probably end up getting canceled as such a disaster. Another NHL player gets heat for refusing to wear the rainbow flag during the hockey game. Is Seth Rogen the worst Hollywood producer ever? And then we'll talk about Elizabeth Olsen saying that Scarlet Witch needs to be more comedic after everything she's done in the course of the last couple of years. So that's all on Tuesday night on the Barroom Podcast, episode 40. That's coming up. So
amazing. And Jacob, thank you, dude. Jacob does amazing stuff. I'm not kidding. He writes and some amazing stuff. And you check him out on Bouting Into Comics and everywhere else he is. I have nothing but complimentary things to say about almost everybody on this show. And I invited the common hipster on my show tonight. So
that sounds like it was fun.
Might have been bad.
Well, I mean, it's one of them situations where we all make choices in life. Sometimes they're bad, sometimes they're good. You just gotta. Sometimes you gotta roll the dice, and sometimes things work out, and sometimes they don't.
Sometimes you spend a night in the pokey. I mean, things happen.
I mean, we've all had those moments where we woke up in the morning, we're like, man, that was a mistake, but it happened.
Don't poke anything. And you know what? If you have to cut your arm off to get out of a sticky situation, it happens. On that note, thanks for being here.
Just this one real quick question, Culture. Have you ever had a show where you did not lose control of the show?
Oh gosh, no.
I'm sorry. Has he ever had control of this show?
Right. What's control? You think you're in? Do you feel in control?
Okay.
Culture?
On the Sunday night show, I could never to have claimed this, and the whole reason I started the show was because I knew it was going to get out of hand fast. So no, I'm just very grateful all of you were here tonight, and all the audience, and every one of my members, and all of my mods. I appreciate all of you more than you could ever possibly know. Now, this is the part where I would normally run credits, but instead, I'm going to run credits.
Except,
Well, we have to run a commercial spot first because they paid for it.
oh well, yes, of course, please.
It's like a real commercial. It's like one of those fake commercials that you heard yourself filming.
No, it's an actual. Well, it's not even a commercial. It's just an excerpt from an interview that was done, or like kind of a descriptor about me. It's interesting. This is from Sir Attenborough. David Attenborough.
As the sun rises over the vast expanse of the internet, a unique creature can be seen scrolling through social media, searching for the latest news in the world of pop culture. This creature is none other than the YouTuber known as CultureCasino, a digital content creator who has made a name for himself in the world of fandom. CultureCasino, or CC as he's affectionately known, got his name from his love of pop culture and his love for gambling, especially on craps. He loves craps. He has carved out a niche for himself in the crowded landscape of online content creation. His videos, which cover everything from Star Wars to deli meats, have earned him a loyal following of fans who appreciate his honest and insightful commentary. But what makes CC truly unique is his ability to collaborate with other creators in the space. And I mean everyone. If there is a channel, chances are CC has found his way on the show. From fellow YouTubers
good Lord,
to
is this over
podcasters
yet?
and bloggers, CC has formed a network. Much like the brain-altering fungus in the TV series The Last of Us, his reach is not only widespread, but brain-penetrating. One of CC's most notable collaborations was with 90s personality...
You can't tell, but I'm flipping the middle finger as this is going on in the background.
The two
I'm
teamed
assuming
up
this
to
is all
create a
AI
video
generated.
discussing intricacies and the joys of wearing a weave, which is to the uninitiated as fake hairpiece worn by men usually bald or balding. Their
Wait, I don't know. That kind of went off the rails. I don't know what happened.
No, sorry.
Oh, I loved it. I loved every moment of it.
I honestly don't know what happened. I feel like something happened there. He went a little off script. Is all I have to say.
That's what the AI will do. I mean, you let them out of their box, and eventually they'll just say and do whatever they want. So that's what you get.
You know,
I mean, we might as well enjoy AI now before, it takes over the world and ruins society as we know it. So
I mean, it's basically prior to Skynet.
I've said for years that once Google buys Facebook and the AI reads all of our posts, that's when Skynet is born and the missiles will fly. But I was talking about needing a voice that sounds like William Conrad. I've been going through all of these different AI voice generators that you can find online. All of the voices are this mid-range milquetoast. No.
They don't use inflection.
No,
yeah, you're trying to think.
No, I was like, are you white bread, bland, nothing range, and it's all in this mid-range. There's no deep bass voices, nothing. It was like,
so what you're trying to tell me is voice actors aren't going to be replaced anytime soon.
What? What?
Tuck and roll.
Oh, that's right. Bye.
here are a bunch of simps who donated to the channel.
I'm one of those simps, Jacob. I don't know why you're talking crap. Oh, hey, what's going on, buddy? You look like you finally got your face cleared up a little bit. Did you finally get that taken care of at the doctor or what?
I sure did. Actually, I got some proper lotion. I'm sorry I'm late. I heard we were talking about bat nipples.
We were. We're kind of sad that you missed it because, I mean, you basically look like you had bat nipples all over your face the last few times we saw you. So I'm glad you got all that cleared up. Were you excited about bat nipples? Did you love bat nipples?
I love bat nipples, especially with sour cream.
Oh, I mean, that makes it. Do you like to dip them or do you like to just lick it straight off the nipple?
Well, I tried it with Mexican Iron Man once, but we use hot sauce instead.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. Hispanics, hot sauce. I mean, that's understandable. I mean, as long as you weren't trying to pull a white person thing and like put sour cream on it, it was probably okay. But yeah, salsa, hot sauce. What kind of hot sauce did you use? Because it really depends. It really depends.
I don't discriminate.
Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah, because I mean, it really matters if it's a vinegar base or something like that. Because the vinegar base can burn a little bit more on the nipples, so you got to be gentle about that kind of thing.
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
I guess I'll just take over by myself then. I had this whole bit written before the show, and then my guy's not even here, so
you never know what you're gonna get on this show.
Yeah, just carrying the show like always,
And I can see where culture would mistake us for each other. I mean,
yeah, we look exactly alike. Probably have the
same
same mother.
Separated at birth, right?
Yeah, I see virtually identical. No difference here.
I know, except the glasses. I think that's probably the giveaway that we're not the same person.
Neighbors bothering you with their loud music? Your boss or coworker harassing you?
Wait, what? Who said that?
Maybe you have a roommate who cries in their sleep. Bully Mays here with a solution that proves every problem has a mortality rate. Introducing Shank Crate, your all-in-one monthly subscription box that can take care of those in-your-face issues. Each box contains new and unique materials for you to build your very own custom shank.
Oh my gosh.
And for your protection, the contents of each box are totally secret until you receive it. And not only does it create solutions, it also serves as a creative outlet, like an adult form of Lego.
Oh yeah. Right? That is a literal knife's edge.
Maybe you, like some of our other customers, have questions.
Can I bring it to school?
Who's ever heard of a pencil not being allowed at school?
Can you store it in a pocket?
Absolutely.
What if you don't, have any pocket?
Your discretion. Whether you're conscientious about the Earth or just not opposed to being a good steward of the environment, each Shank Crate and its contents are made of 100% recycled materials to make sure we're environmentally friendly. And if you order now, we'll be extra sensitive to the environment and keep all the original fingerprints on the items for your convenience. All for the low cost of $19.99 a month. Call 626-831-9333 to get your Shank Crate today. If you call now and secure your monthly subscription for only $19.99, you'll get your very own alibi insurance for those slightly stickier situations. But wait again, there's even more. To be inclusive, culturally respectful, and as patriotic as possible, each monthly box is themed after a unique prison in the US of A. So call 626-831-9333 now to get your very own unique, patriotic, and environmentally friendly Shank Crate with your own personal alibi insurance.
Oh no, Snowdub left his computer on again. Where's the porn channel? Let's see. Look up sexydragons.com. Yeah. Oh man, this one's hot. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do some spank ramen tonight.
Yeah. Some
Sometimes I get so mad, there's no controlling me. My thoughts get so bad, I'm like, I might grab a bat, I don't know. My wrath, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll put it on your face just to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you gon' wish you would shut the fuck up real bad. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. I don't fucking take smoke, I'ma poke a hole through you, choking's overdue. Come at me and you won't get any older, dude. Crack your holder too. Heating up inside of me, blood so violently. Thanks for trying me. Now it's finally time to see how this rivalry becomes a dynasty. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll put it on your face just to make you go take it back.
Expelliarmus. Expelliarmus. Good Christ. I hate the mechanics of this shit. The fuck? Oh, hey, hi. What are you still doing here? Wow. Really thought I hit that button. Well, have a great night, everybody. See ya.